Okay, so we're live. It is about 1:05 in the morning. It's 9/28, 2025. And I'm actually outside. So we'll see how long that lasts. But right now it's fairly decent. Probably still in the 60, 61, somewhere around there. Um, so we got Paula's in here. Hi, Paula. How are you? Good to see you. Nice to see you too. We got Heather in here. It's good. Always good to see Heather in here. It's good to see you, Heather. Hope you're well. Um, I know you weren't feeling good the other day, but I hope you're better. We got Tracy's in here. Good to see Tracy. Always in here. Mustang's in here. Good to see Mustang. We got Southern Gal in here. Southern Gal's awesome. Hey, Southern Gal, how are you? Good to see you. Sorry about Arkansas today. They got crushed. Lisa Joe's in here. Hey, Lisa Joe, good to see you. John Paul Hansen's in here. We got Charles is in here. Good to see Charles. Good to see JPH. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. I can't believe Dirty Diana's in here too. Hey, Dirty Diana, good to see you. I can't believe September's gone. I mean, what the hell happened to September? But good to see everybody in here. Play an intro. We're going to go over the true crime cases of the week. I got a couple of new and exciting stuff going on. I don't know if it's new and exciting, but we'll go over the true crime cases of the week. We got possible interesting stuff coming out of Houston. So let me play. Hold on a second. Let me. It's Shibby. Shibby's in here too. Good to see everybody. Yes. I'm going to go over the hopefully the press conference with that. But I think that whole Travis Decker thing is over. Carol's in here too. Good to see Carol. All right, so let me hold on a second. Yes, I'm doing that right, and I'm going to do that too tonight. The yogurt shop murders there. But let me play a quick intro, and I'll be right back. Good to see everybody. Okay, so we got Beasley in the house. We got Gretchen's in the house. It's good to see everybody. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. It's hard to believe that September just like that's gone. And we all know what comes after September up here. Nothing but cold shit. That's what comes after September up here. So, anyways, it's good to see everybody here in the chat. Hope everybody's doing well. Mustang's in here too. Good to see Mustang. Who else snuck in? We got Sonic Gal's in here. Halloween coming. Yep. Halloween is coming. They'll be here on Sunday to screw up my football games. By the way, I'm watching Colorado and BYU right now, and it looks like BYU is up right now. What is cold? Yeah. All right. So, what are we going to do first? Wake me up when September ends. Hope Heather's in here too. Hope Heather's doing well. I feel like it was just yesterday I watched you disappear on Green Street. I'm watching that one too. You're watching Colorado? Yep, it's been a good day. Bama won, so that's all I care about. All right, so let's. What are we going to do first? We'll go. Hold on a second here. Let me get organized here. Let's do this first. I want to go back about a year here. Hopefully, hold on a second. So we're going to go back a year. I think yesterday was the 1 year. I don't want to call it an anniversary, but Doodlebug's here. Where's Doodlebug? PJ's here too. Lighting the Way Home is here. Doodlebug is here. Doodlebug's been doing great work. Southern Gal's been doing great stuff too. I don't know if you did a live last night or not, Southern Gal. But Doodlebug and PJ are here. PJ has been doing good work too. Great stuff. But I think yesterday was the 1 year helliversary, I'll call it, of Hurricane Helene. So let's hold on one second. Let's go over a little bit of this here. I know this isn't true crime related, but who cares? Let's so this is the 1 year anniversary of Helene here. I just wanted to play a little bit here. 1 year after the storm, we look back at the storm, the support and the people who showed up, who showed what it means to be straight to the heart. This was a terrible storm here. But anyways, let's do this here, and then we'll go to something else here.
62 individuals. Some are patients, some are critical.
Interstates washed out, construction impacting the daily lives of people for months who live in Unicoi County.
Even if it's just raking, stuff like that, there's still lots of that kind of stuff to be done, and just enjoy the beauty of the area, because it's still there, and there's a reason they call this Valley Beautiful.
We saw workers trapped at a plastic company as the waters rose. 6 workers died. A state investigation cleared managers of any wrongdoing. People who worked there claimed as the water was rising, they weren't allowed to leave.
If the right thing had been done, in an hour even sooner, they had been discharged to go home, come back the next day. Hey, we'll pick up the production again.
We're looking back at these eyewitness accounts of the storm and more stories of how Helene changed life in Unicoi.
Oh my God! Yeah, the sports are crazy right now. I can't even. It is just still preseason now for hockey. Yeah, this storm here hit Florida first, and then it kind of got up into the mountains in North Carolina, just pretty much destroyed everything. But I just wanted to go over this a little bit because this was just terrible. These people had no idea this was coming.
Unicoi County. It was a chaotic scene here at a hospital in Unicoi County as patients sought refuge on top of that hospital behind me. The floodwaters had surrounded it, and there was no way off except by helicopter. I'm John Becker, and we are revisiting that rescue after Hurricane Helene and many other stories here in this community of about 18,000. First, though, let's revisit that storm that roared ashore in Florida, known as Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene made landfall in the Big Bend area of Florida on September 24th as a Category 4 storm. We started seeing the extreme winds, flooding, and tornadoes across Appalachia 3 days later on September.
Hold on 1 second here. Go back to this map here for a second. Hold on.
That rescue after Hurricane Helene and many other stories here in this community of about 18,000. First, though, let's revisit that storm that roared ashore in Florida, known as Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene made landfall in the Big Bend area of Florida on September 24th as a Category 4 storm. We started seeing.
Let's see, once it got into right about I would say northern Georgia, they had a weather event that came across earlier in the week, and that's what really kind of loosened everything up because it was a pretty dry summer that year. I remember same at this year here. So the storm that's coming up the coast here, which is probably going to go out to sea now. But if that if that gets into land here, could have the kind of like the same effect because everything's dry here right now, especially down here. But that's what happened. It got up in here, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to the mountains in North Carolina, but it's once the water starts flowing downhill, man, look out.
The extreme winds, flooding, and tornadoes across Appalachia 3 days later on September 27th, and by the 28th, many areas were underwater. That includes Cocke County, Greene County, and Unicoi County in Upper East Tennessee, as well as Asheville, North Carolina.
I mean, I've been to Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. The mountains there are absolutely gorgeous, like the Smoky Mountains, Eastern Tennessee, Southern Virginia. But they say it doesn't flood around here. Bullshit. Look at this.
And surrounding areas of the mountains of Western North Carolina. Representatives say Hurricane Helene and its aftermath killed close to 250 people. Of those, 108 were in North Carolina, 17 in the state of Tennessee.
We are in a state of emergency. The roads are impassable.
911 calls from Unicoi County Dispatch reveal moments when floodwaters from Hurricane Helene reached this area. Several feet of water left some neighbors and first responders stranded and calling for backup. Patients and staff at Unicoi.
Look at this. This is all underwater here. You had, I think this is where they had all those people on the roof.
County Hospital had to be rescued from the rooftop by helicopter. 911 dispatchers in this county were among the first to realize this was a disaster like no one had seen in modern history. For more on those 911 calls and the initial response, here is 10 News reporter Maria Guzman.
62 is my number on the roof. I have 62 individuals. Some are patients, some are critical. So whatever we can do here, help me out. Copy, Chief. 62.
Unicoi County 911 Director Alora Oler-Wyatt was one of several dispatchers working the phones when Hurricane Helene brought torrential rainfall to the mountainous region.
Unicoi County 911.
Karen Lee's alive. Hey, Karen Lee, how are you? Good to see you. Karen Lee is here. Yeah, this was a disaster because nobody really saw this coming up there, except for me, kind of. I knew once you get that moisture in the atmosphere, it's got to go somewhere. So it usually drops a lot of rain in a very short period of time. And when you have, dry land, that water just runs off. It doesn't soak into the ground. So that's what happened here. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, Helene will never be forgotten. I mean, this was a complete disaster. This was epic, epic proportions here. You only see stuff like this every 100 years or so.
She was at the center when her fellow first responders called for backup from the Unicoi County Hospital roof.
But we'll be okay. We'll get them out. Copy that, Chief.
They went straight into harm's way, just like any other field unit would.
We'll work the critical ones out first, and then we'll get everybody else.
Hearing the fear and knowing I couldn't do anything else.
Like if I would have been younger, I probably would have gone down there to help because it was just bad. It was terrible. The slower the storm, the worse for the flooding. Yeah, well, this storm stayed together, too. It was still a tropical storm when it got up into the mountain. The mountains are terrible. If you start flooding in the mountains, it's going to be bad. We had that here. Pretty sure it was Hurricane Irene up here in Vermont. It just once it gets up into the mountains, man, Nothing's stopping that water. Nothing.
Was hard. Most of them on that roof are a part of my 911 board.
This is just one of hundreds of dispatch calls Alora's unit responded to that day in September.
There is a house that's in the middle.
It's always good to see Karen here. Hope you're doing well, Karen. Slow storm, right? A mile per hour. I mean, yeah, it was. Last year was terrible.
Of that river and the river and the people can't get out.
But they are the first responders. Without them, you would not get an officer. You would not get a paramedic.
According to the county, 9 dispatchers helped answer more than 200 calls in just one day.
Everything is flooded over here, and I would be very careful.
We know we have a job to do. And if we break down, we can't do the job we need to do.
The calls ranged from rescues
We've been trapped in here in our house.
to the
Jocelyn's here. Where's Jocelyn? There she is. Good to see Jocelyn. I think worst year for my county were like 7 or 8 hurricanes. Yeah, Florida gets pounded. Florida. But the good news about Florida is there's not a lot of trees. So, I mean, good ones anyways. So, I was on the far eastern edge of Helene, trees swaying in that hurricane way, but we didn't get it bad. We had no idea what happened west for 2 days. No community. Yeah, it just knocks out the power and everything. It's just, I don't even think people have. I would be shocked if people have flood insurance over there. They probably do now, but you know, you don't see flooding over there that much. But I'd be surprised if people had flood insurance.
the Army National Guard calling for backup.
Our truck got flooded. We bailed out.
Amidst the chaos and crises, there's one call that came with relief.
Just heads up, we're evacuating.
Floodwaters devastated
Look at this. Good God. Look at all of this water. Oh,
Unicoi County
you know, the thing is, people don't live up here. They live down below here. So, yeah.
Hospital. Leaders plan to rebuild and promise to do so. But 1 year later, that hospital remains empty. Unicoi County and the small town of Irwin over my shoulder sits just about 2 hours north of Knoxville. You see the hospital behind me.
Where's Dino? Is Dino all right? I haven't seen Dino around for a while. Insurance is worthless air. It's worthless if you don't have it. Yeah, that's for sure. I know insurance rates down, especially along the coast in Florida, are outrageous. And I don't even think you can get flood insurance around parts of Florida these days.
Serving this community for years. We're hearing from the CEO of that hospital about what it's meant to this community of 6,000 in Irwin and roughly 18,000 in Unicoi County. Here is reporter Sarah Ottman.
That's where all the rock was kind of taken out and came out through here. So it went right through the building there.
I mean, where they're standing right now, right? Like where they're at right now, they're probably at, I would say, at least 1,000 feet up, probably, because these mountains. So they're not at sea level here. They're way up. So when you got mountains like this here, it's going to be bad.
The county's only hospital, and for the past 10 months, it's been sitting empty, still covered in debris from Helene.
We had never experienced any flooding like that before. The water rose to within about 7 feet of the top of the hospital.
Flooding forced Ballad Health to close Unicoi County Hospital.
Look at this. This is all water here. This is all. Let me read what Karen said. Insurance companies pulled out before Helene happened. After Helene, they won't because the floodplains were redrawn by FEMA. That's crazy. Like, you just around here, nobody has flood insurance at all. I mean, you just don't get flooding here very much. But when you do get it, Dino's fine, Dave. No worries. Okay. Thank you, Heather. I hope you're well too. Pay insurance, buy beer. Yeah, buy beer. Yep. I'd rather have beer than water. But look at this. This is all water. This is bad.
The plan was to rebuild until a federal law made it impossible.
With the decline in reimbursement in the future, that makes it harder for us to continue to do projects.
These are this. Look at this. This is hold on a second.
And was to rebuild until a federal law made it impossible.
With the decline in reimbursement in the future, that makes.
There's a fire truck here. These are ambulances here. And this is running water too. This is not just, I mean, right now in this image here, it's probably not running, but when the storm was going, it was probably moving pretty quick here.
Makes it harder for us to continue to do projects like this one. So we were disappointed.
The new law, nicknamed the Big Beautiful Bill, tightens rules on how states fund rural hospitals through Medicaid. Ballot Health says those changes could cost their system up to $150 million over 5 years, making the hospital's rebuild financially unstable.
We want to rebuild this hospital, but we have to make sure.
Jenny 8675309 is here. Hey Jenny, how are you? Good to see you. FEMA still owes me $25K. I want my $3. That hospital in Tennessee is still empty. Yeah, Tennessee got it bad too. Tennessee, parts of northern Georgia got it. We'll watch a little bit more than this and we'll go on to something else. I just wanted to go over this because this was catastrophic.
It's financially viable going forward.
Without changes made to the legislation, the project remains in limbo. For now, an urgent care center is filling the gap.
I've heard many patients are thankful, even though we're limited in what we can do here, they are very thankful to have this facility open so that they can keep locally.
X-ray.
They'll probably never see this again. You know, people will probably never see, I say that, it probably happened tomorrow, right? But it's very unlikely for flooding like this to happen, you know, a lot. But you never know.
X-ray specialist Samuel Bradley, like many others, worked at Unicoi Hospital before the floods. He says the need for a new building is clear.
I think it's imperative to have it here because there's many. We were quite busy. There's a big need here for the hospital to be here.
Leaders in this community are pushing members of Congress to help rebuild the hospital behind me. But in the meantime, they needed to fill a void, at least with urgent care. Here is 10 News anchor Sam Perrin.
So let's get out of this here because it looks like they're starting to get political here. But I just wanted to go over that. These mountains are absolutely beautiful here, though. If you guys ever want to do some scenery looking, the Smoky Mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, all of those mountains are all great. But it's the last place you want to be if things are flooding. Right. Like, don't go when it floods. And don't go in the wintertime. It's cold there. It gets cold out here, too. All right, so let's get out of this here. I just wanted to go over that. We'll go into, let's do the whole Gilgo thing now. Waist deep flooding a week or two ago down in Florida. He's not cute enough for you. Yeah, we had the no-name storm here. We had Hurricane Irene. A while back, we had Hurricane Gloria. I remember that one. But we get blizzards here, so we get... All right, so let's do the Gilgo 4. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but the defense got some drawbacks this week here because the defense was trying to get all of these cases separated so they could try one case individually, but the judge said no to that, I think. And all about the DNA evidence that they were trying to get thrown out too. But they had, I think it was a Fry hearing. So the judge put a stop to that too. So this is Vinnie Politan investigates. It's not Vinnie anyways. It's this guy here. Discuss the new DNA technology being used in a case against Rex Heuermann. So this is this here. Guys don't know about this case. This is Rex Heuermann. He's being charged with, I think it's 7 unalivings. And they actually, they got a court date for the trial, and I think it's late 2026, which everybody's pissed off about because they wanted to begin tomorrow. But there's so much information in this case. I'm surprised. I'll be shocked if this case goes to trial in 2026. But here we go.
Murders and the prosecution of the accused killer more than 3 decades after the first victim was killed. Here's the story. For years, the Gilgo Beach murders cast a dark shadow over Long Island as bodies were unearthed, leaving a community haunted by unanswered questions. Among the victims, 9 women, a man, and a toddler. Then a suspect, Rex Hewerman, a New York City architect and father.
Did Southern Gal go live? Did you go live the other night? I know Dirty Diana went live this morning, but I think she booted me because there was no sound. I'm good overall, just a busy night tonight. Jocelyn's amazing. It's always good to see Jocelyn here. It's okay if we get it that you're busy. You didn't. No? You didn't boot me? Pretty sure you did. That dude was not DD worthy. No. Are you okay, Southern Gal? I haven't seen Steve around either. I hope Steve's doing well. All right. All of these people in here, Dirty Diana, Southern Gal, all of these, Jocelyn, great channels. JPH here, amazing musician. Mustang's in here too. Mustang's got a great channel. Doodlebug was in here way up here somewhere. Doodlebug is amazing. Just haven't been able to follow too many lives this week because I've been fairly busy, but I did catch Mom's Minor Monsters live. I think it was Thursday. All right. Anyway, sorry. Let's go back to this here.
Of 2. Investigators say they've tied 7 of the murders to Hewerman. Sandra Costello, killed in 1993, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor.
Okay, so these are the 7 that he's being charged for. And I think, pretty sure it was Sandra Castillo. That was the first. No, it could have been, I forget now. But these are the 7 here. And I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Jackalone. I think it's True Crime with Sarge. I can't play his stuff, but he's awesome on the list on this Gilgo Beach unalivings. So I'm gonna try to get his YouTube channel and post it in the chat. But he's awesome with Lisk.
Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Lynn Costello. At the center of the pretrial battles is new technology involving the DNA evidence, which includes DNA from a pizza box that Hewerman allegedly threw away. And DNA will be a big part of this case. So we're finding more and more about the DNA in the state's case. It's being contested. Ray Tierney talked about the strength of the case against Rex Hewerman and specifically the importance of DNA. Take a listen.
My office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant Hewerman with a 7th charged murder in the 2nd degree for the murder of.
The thing that really sucks about this case here is they can't forward his DNA information until he's found guilty. So, and I think they're going to try to fix that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they, but I don't think they can do that until the trial's over. But I heard through the grapevine here that there's possibly 15 more possibles with this case, but they didn't want to overdo it. They wanted to cut this at like 6 or 7 so they could get to a trial. But I heard that I think there's 15 or so more.
Valerie Mack, which occurred in 2000. I remind everyone that all of these cases and all of these murders are just allegations, and we look forward to proving them in court. As I've previously stated, the work of the Gilgo Task Force is ongoing and continuing. And when I said that, I meant what I said. The defendant is now charged with the murder.
And I keep forgetting the guy's name, but Chuck might know it. The earliest victim, the one in 93, they was it Philbrin? I forget his name. The convict there. They actually were going to charge him with the first one. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these criminals that are in prison right now for previous unalivings start to get lawyers themselves to try to pin it on this guy or their cases on this guy.
Murder of 7 young women, Sandra Castilla from 1993, Valerie Mack from 2000, Jess.
Yeah, I think his last name was Philbrin. He's serving time anyways, but the previous administration, the guys that were corrupt, I forget the police chief, the ex-police chief, and the ex-sheriff. They were confident it was that other guy. So that may come to play in that first one. I think that's why the defensive lawyer was trying to get them separated.
Jessica Taylor from 2003, Maureen Brainerd Barnes from 2007, Melissa Bartholomew from 2009, Megan Waterman from 2010 in June, and Amber Costello from September of 2010. At around the time of the commission of this crime, there was a plumber did go to the Uriman residence. Well, I mean, obviously, we don't have to specifically prove where they happen. We just, we have other elements that we need to prove. But I think if you look at this case, if you look at the planning document, if you look at the adhesive staining on the walls and the sort of enclosed pattern, certainly all of that is consistent with the commission of those murders occurring at the home. We have mitochondrial DNA from a hair that was found on the body of Valerie Mack, which was a portion of the body of Valerie Mack, which was found off of Mill Road. That hair, mitochondrial DNA analysis was performed, and that hair was consistent with the mitochondrial DNA profiles of both Asa Uriman and her daughter, Asa Ellerup, and her daughter, Victoria Uriman. And I believe the numbers are to an exclusion of 99.96% of the population.
That DNA evidence is being contested by the defense. The defense says that this is technology that has changed over the years and it's not to be trusted. That's our first question of the night. Let's reveal it. What is different about this type of DNA evidence? Let's bring in a couple experts to help us with this decision, with this question. DNA expert Susanna Ryan, who has more than 20 years of experience in DNA, analyst and forensic DNA expert with independent DNA.
You're achy? Heather's achy? Did you, you had a cold, right? No? John Butroff. It could be Butroff. Thought his name was Philbert, though, or something like that. You got a bug? Oh, that sucks. Vitamin C. Or, vitamin C. You got Pizza Hut? All right, so
consulting as
well. The whole contention was the I think it was the nuclear DNA. Not every state allows that, or it's more of a newer science. So that was a contention, but the judge ruled against the defense in this. So it's going to be allowed.
Well, Angela Ross is with us. Ladies, this mitochondrial DNA, it's been around for a long time. You hear it going way, for years and years, but the defense.
Actually, Lisa Joe would probably know more about this than I would. She's in here somewhere. Talking about food, you're hungry? Chicken soup.
Defense tried to get this thrown out and basically attacked the science. Angela, fill us in. What are we talking about, and why does the defense believe that this can't be trusted?
Well, it's brand new, and we don't know what they've been looking at as far as the strands of DNA. They're looking at all the individual bases, like the whole genome, and it was very degraded.
It's just my opinion. They got this guy regardless of the DNA, anyways. I mean, they got digital forensics on this guy. They got a whole planning, 4 or 5 different planning documents on this guy here. They have a lot on this guy. They had a lot on this guy 10 years ago. This case should have been solved. I don't know, 2014 maybe at the latest. But there was so many bad characters in this case here from New York, man.
So they filled it in with some known profiles of DNA, or what did they fill it in with? We don't know that. We don't know what they're.
Pertinent's here. Hey, Pertinent, good to see you. Just dropped in for a minute while the commercial was on. Hope your week has been well. You too. Hope you're well, Pertinent. Thank you for dropping in. Appreciate that. At least I'm more important than a commercial. All right, let me have it. Nacho cheese. Nacho cheese.
Comparing it to determine how unique this profile is that they obtained.
Susanna, give us a sense of the evolution of this technology and how it has been accepted into courtrooms over the past decade or so, and maybe some potential.
Does the sound good, or do you want me to turn this up? It sounds okay to me, but I just creepy doctor moved into the city. I'll have to look that name up again.
Pitfalls here.
Sure. So to be clear, what was discussed in that clip had to do with mitochondrial DNA testing. But what's used and what is being used in this case, more than the mitochondrial DNA, which, like you said, has been accepted for many years, what we're using now and what they're trying to introduce is something called whole genome sequencing, or also referred to as SNP testing. So that is very different than what the majority of forensic DNA laboratories use today. And my understanding is that SNP testing has only been accepted in Idaho in one other case. Now, that doesn't mean that it hasn't been used in other forensic cases. It just hasn't been introduced.
I just think they're going to have to be a little careful with some of the DNA that they're pushing, because I'm not a big fan of transfer DNA for sure. Because in a big city like New York or Los Angeles or any of the big cities, I mean, people intermingle all the time. You can get transfer DNA, but I have clown DNA. But I do think they're going to kind of, I don't know, DNA out themselves here with this stuff, some of this stuff here. That's just my opinion.
Introduced into the court system.
This guy's a good lawyer. I think his name's Mark Brown. Is it Mark Brown? He's a good lawyer, but it's going to take a lot to get this guy off. And I don't think a lot of people are saying there's going to be a plea deal in this case. I don't think so. They might. I doubt it. Probably like 80% no, because there's no DP in New York, so there's really no need for him to plea out unless he wants to make it easier on his family. But I don't think this guy gives a shit about anybody.
So this type of testing, the first case that you would probably know that this type of testing was done was actually the Golden State Killer case. So the same type of testing was used, but it was used to help identify the potential perpetrator versus being the only DNA testing that where they have results. This case, they have hairs. Hairs.
Dom's is in here. Good to see Dom's. Half chicken ramen, break up noodles, and toast on stovetop. Warm up chicken. This looks good. Hold on a second here. Chicken chunks. Get that coleslaw out of there. And the cabbage. Sunflower seeds and peanuts. All of that other stuff sounds good, except for the shredded cabbage and the chopped onions. Who else is in here? Fishy's in here. Big Fish. Hey, Big Fish, good to see you. Good to see Dom. I hope you're feeling better, Doms. If you're not feeling well, take 10 cc's of Shibby and don't call me. Pothead food. Mac and cheese with hamburger. There you go. Idaho 4 in many cases use GG. It's becoming a lot more. I think New York is one of the states, though, that they have to have a Fry hearing. If it's not like this is a newer kind of technology, and I don't think it's been used in New York before, so they have to kind of have a Fry hearing for that. I believe that's the case. I'm not 100% sure.
Are typically very difficult to work with traditional nuclear DNA. And so what they did in this case is they used the whole genome sequencing on rootless hairs by a laboratory name called SK'er. And so that is what is really new and unique in this case.
Michael J. Brown represents Rex Heuermann. He said this to our Julie Grant this morning, or recently.
What?
I think it was clear from the evidence.
This guy's fucking classic, man. This guy here. He's got to do it. I mean, a lot of people don't like defense attorneys, and rightly so, I guess. But the one thing that you got to be careful is defense attorneys have to do well, and I'll tell you why. Because if defense attorneys don't do well, they could just be, the client could just say, "Hey, I've got ineffective counsel." So he's doing everything he has to do to make sure that he dots his I's, crosses the T's in this defense case, because we don't want this case to linger like the Karen Reed freaking case, right? We just or the Alex Murdaugh case. So, but this guy's a good lawyer here. He's just funny as shit.
Deduce both on the people's case and on our case that this is not general acceptance in the scientific community.
Angela, is that right? And there's a difference, right, between the scientific community and the legal community in terms of acceptance.
Yes, I mean, the type of testing that we normally see in forensics cases is widely accepted. Every laboratory uses the same type of testing. They are accredited laboratories that have validated their procedures. Everybody goes through the same validation process. So the type of testing that we have in the forensic community. And
are you going to bed, Heather? Good to see you, Heather. Have a good night. Happy birthday to your kiddo. We love you, Heather. I hope you feel better soon. Love you, kiddo. Hope you're doing well. Get your GoFundMe scrolling across the bottom here. Take care of yourself. I'll see you around this week at some point.
And every lab uses, that's what we're used to using in court, and that's what's been accepted in the courts for many, many years. So with this type of testing, it's unknown. I mean, yes, we've been doing DNA sequencing for years, but to bring it into the courtroom, there's all these certain guidelines that you have to follow to be a forensic laboratory and to be accredited and to have your work. It's been scrutinized. It's been analyzed by everybody. You have the reviews that take place in the laboratory before reports go out. And this is just not something that the forensic community as a whole is familiar with as far as, using this as a sole purpose for identification.
So there is a little there.
So he's 60-year-old. He's 60 years old.
There in terms of the argument from the defense. Susanna, if you were hired by the defense, what would you argue in terms of poking holes?
Because there's people coming out of the woodwork. The law enforcement's coming out of the woodwork here. They got law enforcement from all over the country that are trying to get his DNA to look up cases. They got Las Nevadas checking in with this guy. They got, pretty sure it's one of the Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina. They got Virginia, New Jersey is asking for his DNA. There's cases all over the place that this guy could be involved in or could not be involved in. But I'm telling you, it's 50. They had 15 different new cases that's what I heard, anyways.
In this technology, whether it's the infancy.
So if he's 60 years old, right? So 60, when do SK'ers usually start? Around 20, 27, 28. So you just do the math, right? Like that's his first victim was he's being charged with anyways when that was 93. So just do one a year. That's I know that most serial killers have a cooling off period. Is that what they call it? Or like a but he could be responsible for a lot more.
Or what have you, in terms of deciding.
He's a big guy. This guy's a huge man, right? Like if you get he's just a big guy.
Guilt or innocence.
Well, I think Angela is correct in noting that, the laboratory, because it is such a new technology, it is not accredited, right? So all of the forensic laboratories, I'm a lab director of a forensic lab. We are accredited. Every other, state, county lab, whatever, they have to go through an accreditation process. This lab, SK'er, and to be clear, I've sent samples there, so I'm not denigrating them at all. It's just very new, and so they are not accredited yet. And that was one of the other arguments, in my understanding, that was made, that they're not accredited. And another issue is that New York has its own guidelines regarding what labs can be used for testing. And the argument was made that, they can't use these samples because this lab is not only not accredited, but does not have the proper permits from the New York Department of Health. Now, my understanding was the judge ruled against that and said, you know what, that only applies to clinical labs. That's actually incorrect in my understanding and reading. I'm not gonna say the judge is wrong, but right. But in my clear reading of the documentation, it certainly does apply to not just clinical, but forensic laboratories. And so forensic laboratories that are private labs that want to test New York state samples have to have this permit.
It's always good to see big fish in here. Yeah, we hope Heather feels better for sure. I hope she's okay.
Final word, Angela, thumbs up or down on this technology in a courtroom to decide someone's guilt or innocence?
I don't know if it really meets that high standard as far as it should be accepted, but yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we've been doing DNA sequencing for a long time, but for it to go to the courts, I'm going to say thumbs down.
All right. Thanks for the lesson, ladies. Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the victims. Will families get justice? Stay with us.
State police. Yeah, there's somebody after me. I'm sorry?
This is the person that I feel most. I mean, I feel bad for all the victims here and families, but this is the person here, Shannon Gilbert, that I feel the worst for, because she's not going to get any. It doesn't look like she's going to get any closure here at this, because they continue to say her case is not a homicide, but I just don't know how it can't be. But
there's somebody after me.
My two best friends were just murdered.
Join me. There were 11 sets of remains found in the investigation of Gilgo Beach and in the Gilgo Beach area. Huerman is attached to 7 of them in terms of prosecutors building a case.
I mean, she's the reason why they found all of these people. I mean, if it wasn't for her and Johnny Ray trying to keep that case going, not saying they never would have found her, but they probably would have found them at some point. But they went out there because they found her. Jack, who's Jack? Third time's a charm. That's what I think. I think that there's a I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the only person that's involved in stuff like this here. It seems to me like there at one time or even now, some sort of a ring going on around there where you had these multiple people, luring these SWs in and doing some pretty strange things. But I definitely think Rex Heuermann I think there was some sort of a conspiracy thing going on here with a whole bunch of different people at one time.
Two other women were found, and their remains were found there, but they're not at this point connected to Rex Heuermann. And one of them is a woman by the name of Shannon Gilbert. We're going to talk to the attorney representing her family in just a bit. But first, we want to play a harrowing 911 call. And the search for Shannon Gilbert actually led to the discovery of other remains. But this is the call that she made before she lost her life.
Going back to the hurricane thing, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more bodies out there. They had two powerful storms. They had Hurricane Irene, Hurricane Sandy, especially on Long Island. So, I would not be surprised if there were more bodies out there at one time.
State police. Yeah,
This freaking 911 operator always bothers me here.
After me. I'm sorry? There's somebody after me. Where are you? There's somebody after me. Okay, where are you? There's somebody after me. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know. No, stop it, please. Stop it, please. Please stop it. Please stop it. No, stop it.
Hold on a second.
There's somebody after me. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know. No, stop it, please. Stop it, please. Please stop it. Please.
Hold on. Who was that said that?
There's somebody after me. Where are you, ma'am? I don't know. No, stop it, please. Stop it, please. Please stop it. Please.
That was Joseph Brewer that said it. You're going what? Yeah, I think this guy, Joseph Brewer, is not a good guy either, to be honest with you.
Stop it, no.
Daisy's in here. Where's Daisy? There she is. Daisy's amazing. I know her as Amy G, I think. So I'm gonna call her Amy G. But Amy G is awesome. Great channel. Daisy asks. Try to keep promoting her as much as possible. I was on her live this morning, I think, yesterday morning, whenever the hell it was. But awesome investigator right there. She does great work. This whole 911 call just makes me angry. It's like this 911 operator is so, where are you? How the hell am I supposed to know where I am?
No, what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to me? Stop it. These people are plotting to kill me.
Michael Pack, shut up. Who is he saying shut up to? See, I'm glad they have the things on here. Hold on a second. Get her out of here. That was Brewer that said that.
People are flying to kill me.
And then Michael Pack says, shut up. I don't like this guy either.
All right, our question now we have is, at the end of the day here, will the victims' families get justice? And it's difficult to say when you talk about the remains that were found, but there is no suspect attached to them, at least at this point, here to help.
What's the matter with Chuck? That whole thing is that whole phone call bothers me, man. Did she call from a landline or she calling from her phone? It's weird how they couldn't just. I mean, it's just bizarre.
With our investigation is the criminal defense attorney who represents the family of Shannon Gilbert, John Ray, and criminal justice expert witness Dr. Ken Lang. John, fill us in on where your families that you represent stand now on the human prosecution, the judge saying the DNA is coming in at least this point. How is everybody feeling as we get closer and closer to an eventual trial?
Well, with Shannon Gilbert.
See, the whole thing about that 911 call is, it's a serious situation, and and I know that the 911 operators are, they don't know what's going on, but she just could have. I mean, that whole situation could have been handled a lot differently. It's just all I'm saying. I've quit X, some old bullying and then projecting. That sucks. That just truly sucks. Yeah, so how were the two guys not involved? It's so weird, and cops will be the first people to tell you that they don't believe in coincidences, right? Like,
there is no connection yet made between Rex Heuermann and Shannon. There's certainly a strong possibility that there is a connection. We have uncorroborated testimony.
This guy here, this lawyer here, to me is a hero. I mean, if it wasn't for him, this case would have kept, not just him, but Rodney Harrison, and the district attorney there, all those guys, they solved this in like 2 weeks. I don't know what it took. It took so long, like for the other people, the other administrations, like they had all the evidence. But this guy here has been representing Shannon Gilbert forever. In this case, for forever. I remember him back in 2012 talking about this shit.
I've gathered from people, witnesses and such in the Oak Beach area and on Long Island who say they have seen Shannon connected to Heuermann, or Heuermann connected as well to others who were involved in Shannon's case. But Shannon is not going to, nor her family are going to receive justice because of a conviction of Heuermann until we can connect the true killers with Shannon Gilbert. The people involved with the actual people who are involved with the Heuermann case directly, I don't know how they can really get justice, even if he's found guilty, and he very likely will be. But how does...
Thank you, Mustang. Appreciate it. Yeah, Johnny Ray to me is, pretty good guy. Takes a lot to, go to bat for people like this here, because, a lot of people, believe it or not, they just push some of these cases aside because of their, their lifestyles and stuff like that. But this guy's been on this case forever.
They're dead. Their lives have been taken away, and there's no justice on earth that can satisfy anyone.
Yeah, it's truly heartbreaking, because sometimes people just can't handle this shit, right? Like, they just, it's not easy. It can't be easy dealing with stuff like this here. It kills just more than the victim, right? It kills the families. People have nervous breakdowns. They have it just sucks. And this guy's going to get to sit in prison for the rest of his life, eating food and getting the best insurance possible. And, while all these victims' families, like, it just sucks. That's not justice, man.
Connected to somebody who was a member of a family or a loved one when they've been murdered. So we look for justice on earth very imperfectly and hope for a higher justice that comes from the finding out of the truth.
Yeah.
The truth in the case
Justice
that comes
and-
through the trial.
Justice and peace are different things, and peace, they'll never receive what they're looking for in terms of being whole. They won't be whole. Dr. Lang, we see this all the time. It's a tough, will someone get justice? The criminal system that we have in place can only deliver a few things. What's your take?
Yes. So what is justice? For some people, they seek justice in a very retributive way. Other people will look at this and not so much.
I got turned onto this case actually by another case a long time ago. The New Bedford highway unalivings over there in Massachusetts, up and down the 95 corridor. This was back the early 90s, actually. While I was researching those cases there, that kind of put me onto this case here that was going on in the I think it was like 2010. I mean, these cases have been going on forever, but I got involved with these guys around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And like I said, they knew who this guy was. They had a guy who literally gave them the description of who the guy was, and they did nothing about it. They had the car, right? They had the car. They had the cell phone pingings all the way from the middle of New York all the way out to his house in Long Island. It's just so weird how it took them till 2022 to arrest this guy. It just doesn't make any sense.
Be seeking retribution, but they're looking more so for closure.
Michelle C is here. Hey, Michelle C, good to see you. So I'm going to mention this one time because I don't want to seem like I'm prying here. So if anybody wants a wrench, just let me know, and I will do that. Southern Gal's amazing. She's got a great channel. Her and Arctic Fox and Doodlebug was in here a little while ago. They do a great job, all of them. I saw Arctic Fox was on Mom's channel, Minor Monsters too. Great people.
And so they're looking to be recognized. They're looking for the truth of the facts that happened.
The other thing I think is interesting about these victims is most of them came from out of state. Most of them were not actually New York residents. They, I think one was Maine, another one was Kentucky. Was it Kentucky? But they came from all over. A couple of them were, but some of them weren't.
Closure, although closure does not equate to justice. And so through the prosecutor's work and what they're doing here, they're going to be able to tell that story. They're going to bring that story out and show it through this timeline from the late 1990s up to 2010 through the victims that they are able to prosecute. And they're going to
It's actually pheasant.
work towards striving towards bringing closure for the families with this.
John, is the Gilbert family pleased because there were some really horrible years in terms of investigative vigor in this case? Are they pleased with what's in place now, and are they optimistic that at the end of the day they will receive at least the 100% effort from investigators, detectives? Do they feel as though they're getting that?
Well, there's various members of the Gilbert family who are affected in relatively different ways by all of this. But generally speaking, one can say unequivocally that until the Shannon Gilbert case is finally brought to fruition, her murder, that. Until that happens, there can be no satisfaction for what happened. But I never.
Like she says, I like to give out wrenches. That way I kind of make everybody feel guilty for not coming back.
I can't ascribe to this notion that somehow if the truth comes out, there's closure. How do you close your heart after what has happened? Because you've learned the truth.
Don't. You know, that's just it. You just don't. You can't. It's impossible.
The truth is necessary. And it's actually the one way that we can combat evil is by coming to the truth. But I don't see the...
Yeah, John Paul Hanson's awesome. I'm going to try to incorporate the song you made for me at some point here. But he does great work for everybody. Everybody's got the great songs from JPH for sure.
The victim, the family, being able to...
I try to promote everybody. I mean, if you got a good channel, Guilt Trip, that's too funny.
Deal with this ultimate result unless we have an ultimate right result.
That's the one thing about New York, man. I mean, this guy was just getting taken down by like 20 different people and nobody cared. We're just walking by like nothing's going on. Look at this thing.
Shannon Gilbert case, that she was murdered, and that the possibility certainly exists that there's more than one person involved in her murder, just as there is more than one person involved in the Rex Heuermann case. That doesn't mean that
Peggy O was awesome too. I was on Peggy O's channel this morning for like 2 minutes. Every time I go on her channel, she just takes off. But she's got a great channel too, for sure. I do the same thing if I joined the chat. I'd probably get rid of me too.
What I just said is...
Would you say
absolutely
more
true,
than one person?
It is a real possibility.
Yeah, are you talking about people close to him, or people we haven't heard names yet?
Both.
Okay.
But I'm speaking.
This is where I think Johnny Ray's wrong. I don't think Asa had any idea, but you never know. You know, wishful not thinking, right? Like, I don't think they're involved at all. But what do I know?
Thinking about both. There's an entire sub-civilization of people involved in the sex trade, the sex trafficking, the drug trafficking that goes with all of this on Long Island and in the metropolitan area, who have been connected one way or another with these characters like Heuermann and of course his family. How can anybody?
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that, man. You are too. Chevy's awesome too, even though he is from Canada, and he's a Maple Leaf fan. God.
Say, well, we're going to convict him because the hair is found on the body. It's the hair.
At least you're not a Bruins fan. That's all I could say. Because I don't think the Maple Leafs are winning anything anytime soon. So don't have to worry about you guys.
Of his wife,
right?
And why is it not equally possibly her who's involved because it's her hair?
Yeah, well, a lot of people have
not satisfied
thought that,
with the investigation.
and a lot of people have brought that up. Dr. Lang, bottom line, the case against Heuermann strong, and why, if so?
I think we have some issues. You know, we were just talking at the top of the segment about the DNA and whether that's even going to be admissible. And then now we have this hair, and John brings up an excellent point. Is or isn't the wife involved in this? And then how does that hair transfer over when we have the whole Lockhart exchange principle that talks about how trace evidence can be picked up, transferred, and then dropped at the scene? Doesn't necessarily make one guilty, but it just indicates that people may have been in a particular place. So it depends on how the defense attorney takes these arguments and then presents them to the jury.
Yeah, we shall see.
All right, so I want to go to, hold on a second. I got, I have these somewhere, but it's easier for me to just do it this way. Hold on a second here. So they also have these, right? I don't know if you guys can see these, but this is what they call the planning documents that this guy had, and he was a terrible speller, right? Like, but to be honest with you, I don't know. Like these planning documents that he had came out a long time ago, so I don't know if they had spell check back then. But some of these words, just don't need spell check. But here's a vehicle inspection pre-prep, right? Recon. This is all the stuff that he was archiving for himself so he could do a better job later. And the pre-prep, prep, post-event, destroy file, change tires. The change tires things. Apparently, this guy was an avid YouTuber as far as true crime to dispose of pics, have stories set. I mean, they have all of this stuff here. And then there's, hold on a second here. There's more here. This is the age. I got this somewhere on my computer, 2002 to 2004. This is another one here. Problems, DNA, tire marks, blood stains, fingerprints, MO, plastic bag cat litter. This guy's a terrible speller. Booties, supply. This is the supplies he needs to carry out these unalivings, right? Booties, lye, acid, police scanner with one end, rope, cord, saw, cutting tools, hair nets. He's got the, I forget what this means here. Dump site, mill road, dump site 2, dumpster site. This is all going to be brought up in court. T1 Megan, right? Just, you can't make this stuff up. And they found all of this. They have like 400 different devices from this guy. Here's more here. Spur of the moment cover. He had notes. Stockholm syndrome. The more you do, the more clues you give, right? Like this is technically circumstantial stuff here, but if you tie everything together, it's pretty terrible. Dieter's here. Where's Dieter? There's Dieter. Hi, Dieter. Good to see you. Always good to see Dieter here. Hope you're well. All right, so let's go back to this here. Just wanted to show you the planning documents they have on him. Stop sharing that. We'll continue with this for a little bit longer, and then we'll move on to the yogurt shop unalivings.
We're going to get a break coming up. The defense wanted to separate all of these cases, these 7 murders. Well, the judge said no, it's murders, cases that shocked Long Island, New York, and left many unanswered questions. Here's the story.
I remember this like it was yesterday when they broke the story about all these bodies they found.
The first victim was killed in 1993 in total.
So here's this is Go-Go Beach here. What they don't have in here is the other location where they found parts of peaches, I think it was. But these are the 4 for sure here. Here's the Asian male doe here.
9 women, a man, and a toddler make up the Gilgo Beach murder victims, a case that haunted a community for more than a decade. The accused killer, Rex Hewerman, a seemingly average Long Island resident, an architect and father of 2. Investigators say they've tied 7 of the murders to Hewerman: Sandra Costello, killed in 1993, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Maureen.
So this is the Sandra Costello. This was the first one. So this was done 1993. But the original investigators, especially the DA and they were convinced it was that other guy that did that.
Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Lynn Costello. The battle over DNA evidence is heating up, involving DNA from a pizza box that Hewerman allegedly threw away, as prosecutors attempt to use new technology at trial.
So Rex Hewerman is facing 7 murder charges. All of them are going to be tried as one.
the suspect in the Long Island infamous Gilgo Beach serial killers, lost his bid to separate into multiple trials. And that is going to create quite the trial indeed. The trial against Huerman could move forward as a single trial. It will because of the judge's decision. Lawyers for Huerman, including Michael J. Brown, had argued in court that filings, basically this is a situation where there was no unique and consistent modus operandi common to all the murders. They argued and contended as well that jurors would struggle with the volume and complexity of the evidence in the case. They argued that you have this 62-year-old man who might be convicted.
So he's 62.
Because of the cumulative effects, because the jurors will be like, well, he had to have done it once they hear that there's 7 of them. Prosecutors maintain that many victims are connected because of overlapping evidence and witnesses, making this a single trial. And you need judicial efficiency because taxpayers are paying for it all. So our question will be, will the jury, the eventual jury that is eventually picked here, be able to follow the volume and complexity of this case as was articulated by the defense?
All it takes is one juror, man. Everything about that guy is freakishly huge. Yes. He's John Paul Hansen's leaving. Have a good week, buddy. Always good to see John Paul Hansen in here. Feel free to go over there and check out John Paul Hansen's music. He's awesome. Does a great job.
In their arguments, it is a lot. And if you think about it, you've got 7 victims, 7 different murders, and they're all.
According to some of the stuff that I read, this guy didn't just unalive these people. He did a lot. It wasn't just unaliving. It's just terrible.
Going to be boiled into one case. Bobby Chacon is with us. And he's a retired FBI special agent, also a lawyer. And Tony Bruschi, he's the host of Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Tony, to you first, what's your take in terms of the argument that this is just too much? You've got 7 victims, and
I always thought that was kind of weird with the Rick Allen thing, right? Like, we had the 2 cases kind of going on at the same time. We had the Idaho 4 court appearances from Brian Kohlberger, and then you had the Rick Allen appearances in court. And Brian Kohlberger would come into court all nice, clean shaven and all of that stuff, and Rick Allen would come into court looking like he just walked out of basically a dumpster fire. Strange. I hadn't really thought about it and only then couldn't decide. Okay.
and a ton of evidence and 12 people trying to ingest it.
It is staggering. It can't say it hasn't been done or it can't be done, but it is a lot. Let's put it into perspective here. Prosecutors are planning to call more than 100 witnesses from 15 states, covering nearly 30 years of evidence. Each of the 7 charges has its own timeline and method, essentially. From Sandra Costello back in '93, no clear cause of death there. You got Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor in the early 2000s, both dismembered and scattered between Marionville and Gilgo. And then, of course, the Gilgo 4 in 2010, found intact and wrapped in burlap. All very different settings, all very different type cases that we have, all trying to be connected here. And instead of weighing one crime scene, jurors are going to have to track a fractured story across decades and try to make some sense of it. And like you were saying, the defense, they're calling it spillover prejudice. That was the argument that they were trying to make when they wanted these all separated out, saying that the jury is not going to be able to separate these each count. The prosecution saying, well, that's probably right. And that's the arc. One man, one pattern, one serial killer. And history shows us that that might be right and that might lead to the conviction. In complex trials like this, people, jurors, tend to connect dots and simplify, not parse out.
Isn't that weird? That's just the weirdest thing. I had said the whole time they were having a court appearance and stuff. just really strange how one state was different than the other state, and bizarre.
Different distinctions. However, there is some danger here. If the jurors sense that some charges were added more to clean up maybe old case files than deliver solid justice, and they feel like they're being sold a bill of goods, maybe erode some confidence in the stronger counts too. That's a big thing. Trust is huge here, and Suffolk County doesn't exactly have it on their side. The Gilgo investigation infamously derailed under former Suffolk Police Chief James Burke, who blocked the FBI involvement. And
I don't know why I can't ever remember his name. It's James Burke, and then there was the other one, his superior, I think. Both of them. I think James Burke is actually in prison right now. He might not be. I don't know. I know he was.
Later went to prison for corruption. It's a lot to digest.
Yeah, and it's all going to come out. Bobby, what's your take in terms of the strategy here? I tend to believe that if you're a juror and you hear that the
yeah, I like him too. He's a good guy. Most of these guys I try to watch, but a lot of these guys are on during the day, so I'm not usually awake. But both of these guys are good.
prosecutor believes this guy is responsible for 7 murders, you are not gonna let him go because you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's got to be some there.
A good defense attorney is going to make sure that they consider each and every count of that, and good defense attorneys will go through that. They're not going to be able to get that kind of prejudice by the jury. My first RICO case had 26 homicides from 5 different states, over 100 witnesses, probably 30 counts of different federal drug and violence charges. And we went through every one of them and proved every one of them. And 2 years ago, I was a juror on.
It's New York, man. This case is going to be a shit show. It just really will be. I don't think it's going to be televised, but it's still going to be a shit show.
Really? Murder with special circumstances case here in California. I was a juror on a 5.5 month trial, Ted. I sat in that jury box for 5.5 months. And yes, I'm an attorney and a former law enforcement officer, and I was allowed on the jury.
I can't believe that.
It was a complicated case. We had a lot of technical evidence.
How does that happen? He's a former prosecutor, former police officer, and he was on a jury. Wow, that's weird.
Cell tower evidence. There was a lot of the allegations of changed text and how you change a text and can it actually be done without leaving a trail. And the prosecutor did a good job of going step by step because we were not a very technical jury, and we understood by the end. They put enough expert testimony in there. It was 5.5 months, but we heard all the evidence and we came to a just verdict, I think.
Okay, so that's that. So I just want to go over that. He lost the bid for the DNA evidence to be questioned, and then they're going to try all these cases at the same time. And I think that's why I think they have more potential victims, but I think they wanted to cap it at a certain amount so that they could get this into a court, a trial at some point. But I would not be surprised if he is convicted of more. All right, so let's get out of here. I do want to go to the case that Charles kind of referenced early on in the live here. I want to do, the guy Chad Daybell is such a dick. I can't stand him. Ugh. All right, so we'll go to the yogurt shop murders here, which are technically the Austin yogurt shop murders here. So this happened a couple of days ago, I think. Austin police have linked suspect in the 1991 unalivings of 4 teenage girls at the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop off Anderson Lane in North Austin. According to a statement shared from Austin Mayor Kirk Watson's office, APD identified the suspect as Robert Eugene Brashers, who was connected with several other violent crimes across the Southeast. And he's dead. He unalived himself in 1999. So before we do this here, let me kind of just read this. These are also called the Austin Yogurt Shop murders here. 1991. Yogurt Shop was a quadruple homicide which took place in I Can't Believe It's Yogurt in Austin, Texas. The 4 victims were 13-year-old Amy Ayers, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, a 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, and Jennifer's 15-year-old sister, Sarah. Jennifer and Eliza were shop employees, while Sarah and her friend Amy were in the shop to get a ride home. And this happened in the early 90s. About 1 hour before, actually, let me share this, sorry. I just kind of wanted to read this. Hold on a second here. All right. Around midnight, a policeman on patrol reported a fire in the shop, and first responders discovered the bodies of the girls inside. The victims had been, pew-pewed in the head. At least one of them had been graped. A 22 and a 380 pistol were used to commit the unalivings, and the perpetrator probably exited through the back door and was found unlocked. So this has been going on for a long time. And now we'll go over the video. It's always good to see some of these things start to get justice here. Doesn't really matter now the guy's dead, but I'm sure it matters to the family. Okay, so here we go.
News. And that breaking news tonight, after 34 years, Austin's most infamous cold case appears to have been solved. The city of Austin now linking the yogurt shop murders to serial killer Robert Brasher's. 4 young teenage girls were killed at the I Can't Believe It's Yogurt shop in North Austin on December 6, 1991. After a fire, first responders found the bodies of 15-year-old Sarah Harbison and her 17-year-old sister Jennifer, 13-year-old Amy Ayers, and 17-year-old Eliza Thomas. Brasher's killed himself during a 1999 police standoff in a Missouri hotel. Shortly after taking his own life, Missouri law enforcement said, quote, "Make no mistake, he is a serial rapist and serial killer," end quote. In 2018, DNA evidence linked Brasher's to the murders of 3 people and the rape of a girl in the 1990s. Investigators said they solved those cases after obtaining DNA by digging up Brasher's body. Now, according to information obtained by KXAN, Austin city leaders learned of the development today. The information provided to them said Austin police identified the suspect through a wide range of YSTR, DNA, and ballistics testing. Now, YSTR testing is a specific type of DNA testing that targets regions on the male Y chromosome. A city memo states Austin police will hold a news conference on Monday to explain to the public about this breakthrough. We now want to take the time to show you how this case impacted Austin. Here's a reflection KXAN put together in 2021 on the 30th anniversary of the murders.
Firefighters were called to fight a blaze at the I Can't Believe It's Yogurt shop on West Anderson Lane. Inside, they discovered the bodies of 4 teenage girls. Each had been shot in the head.
Isn't this freaking terrible? This is just terrible. I wonder if he was one of the 2 guys. Yeah, it could be. Could have been, for sure.
The fire had been set to cover up the crime.
Yeah, this is 4 girls here.
1991. What the hell was I doing in 1991? Late 1991. Probably getting really hammered. I mean, it's...
They're dead or now dead. For what reason? I mean, surely they couldn't have that much money in there. The price of life seems to be getting cheaper and cheaper these days.
The girls were identified. 17-year-olds Eliza Thomas.
I don't think we had any of those around here. This is terrible. These cases, these individuals had no business on being unalive. It's just crazy. It's just sad. Terrible.
Thomas and Jennifer Harbison both worked at the yogurt shop. Also killed were Jennifer's 15-year-old sister, Sarah, and a friend, 13-year-old Amy Ayers. Classmates of the 4 girls struggled with the question, why?
I mean, he had to be a messed up person to do that. I mean, He could have just took and left. I mean, he didn't have to do what he did.
I'd like to kill this son of a bitch.
The hatred that I have for this person who's done this to all 4 of these girls, it was so in.
And he, you know, unfortunately, he took the easy way out. Just you literally just want to bash these people in the head with a baseball bat. You just really do.
Humane, the way that he did what he did.
Facing your own mortality, it's making us all a lot closer. We're already close.
Tracy was in Munich and Augsburg, Germany. Wow, that's pretty cool. The beer would have been better. I wish I would have been there. I read there were 2 unknown male DNA, and this guy was one of them. I think I heard something like that too. You were working at a pizza place, 1991. I actually think I was in jail. And Sweet Dude Shibby was racing his 1987 Mustang 5.0 in the snow, getting in big trouble, and playing hockey. How can you drive a car and play hockey at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. I was smoking really cheap weed.
Student body is, but I'm finding myself telling everybody how much they mean to me now, just in case.
Paula is arguably one of the most amazing people on the planet. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably forget about doing lives every night. But she makes sure she emails and Facebooks me to make sure that I'm on my toes, making sure I'm getting ready for my lives. She's just an amazing freaking person. We love Paula here. She's got a great freaking channel. Her morning stuff is awesome. U.S. Army, and yes, the beer was great. I didn't like beer till I got to Germany. A lot of people don't like beer until they get to Germany. I always drank really cheap beer because I drank a lot of beer. But when I really wanted to drink good beer, it was definitely a Beck's, right? Like just Beck's to me was really good. I love German beer too. You had a 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit. That's cool. Punch buggy. I had a 1986 Chevy Corvette. Chevette. Winter Carve. Chevy Chevette. You can tell people, you want to go see my vet? They go outside and see your Chevette. It's a vet, it's just not a Corvette. All right, sorry.
As we witness casket after casket being unloaded and rolled into the church, the comments we've been hearing over the past few days begin to ring clear, that there are no words to describe the emotion of losing a loved one.
I hope he feels what we are feeling right now, because I tell you something, he is going to pay for what he did to my friends and to the rest of them, because that's not right. I have people here that are helping me get through it. There'll be times where I'll just try to think about something else, and then there's other times, when it's horrible.
Earlier today,
I had a Berlinetta too. Didn't have T-tops, but I had a Berlinetta. That was the worst winter car ever. Couldn't drive that thing in the snow at all. But I had one of those. The interior was immaculate, though. The interior to those cars were... The best car I ever owned was probably my 19... I had a 19... it was Buick's version of the Nova. I think it was a 1978 Buick. I forget the name of the car. It wasn't a Nova. But that transmission in that car, wow. That was a nice car.
friends still visited the yogurt shop where the tragedy occurred. They're still trying to make sense of it all.
It's technically an Oldsmobile Buick is what it was. Oldsmobiles had Buick engines.
Do not stand at my grave and cry.
I am not there. I did not die.
Yeah, they put in the Berlinetters, they put the 305, which was probably the worst motor they ever made. And then if you got a real Camaro, you had the 350, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, Nova's a Chevy, but Buick had the same kind of model. It was just called something different. I forget what it was, but it had the the slip transmission in it, which was that thing could go fast.
We want those pictures up. We want people to know that these beautiful girls were alive, a part of the city, and they made a difference every day. And so
Barbara Hall's here. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Yes, mine was beautiful. The block cracked. Skylark, Buick Skylark. Was it a Skylark? Could have been. It's Barbara Hall. Barbara Hall's here. We love Barbara. Hope you're feeling okay, Barbara. We missed you. Hope you're well.
so many people's lives, and we don't want anyone to forget that they lived, they were here, and they were murdered.
A look back there from the KXAN archives. Police did arrest and charge 4 men 8 years after the murders. 2 of those men, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott, even confessed. However, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals overturned both convictions, noting constitutional violations when it came to their confessions. And then in 2009, advanced DNA testing located a DNA profile belonging to an unknown male as part of sexual assault swabs.
It was the Apollo. I don't think they made it for very long. So Buick's version of the Chevy Nova was the Buick Apollo, produced from, so it was an earlier car, the 75, I think it was. Produced from 73 to 75, the Apollo was one of several compact cars GM built on the same GM body platform along the Chevy Nova. Then there was the Oldsmobile Omega. That was the one good thing about GM back then. They were all like, you could take a part from a Buick and put it in an Oldsmobile. And take the Oldsmobile apart and put it in a Chevy. They were all kind of interchangeable.
Taken off the victims. The profile did not match any of those 4 men arrested. And then one of the other men arrested, Maurice Pierce, stabbed a police officer and was shot and killed by police in 2010. We are learning more about this huge development, looking to reach out to family members of the girls as well. We'll bring you a full report coming up tonight at 10 here on KXAN.
This is how stupid my brother was. He had a Delta 88. It was a Oldsmobile Delta with 4-door. That car was like a tank, right? But the paint was fading on it. So my uncle, he didn't want to have to pay for a paint job. So my uncle told him he could paint the car with a paintbrush, and he did it. He fucking painted the car with a paintbrush. What an idiot. All right, so all right, let's hold on a second. We'll try to play one more of those here really quick. Did we do this one yet? Investigators believe the right here.
Quita Culpepper, and here with Mark and Tony, and we are interrupting our regular newscast with some important breaking news that so many may have waited decades to hear. Authorities are telling us that it's a resolution to one of the defining events in Austin's history.
Yeah, KVUE News has confirmed investigators with the Austin Police Department believe they have solved the infamous yogurt shop murders after nearly 34 years.
Finally, an answer to this question that has haunted Austin for decades. Who killed these girls? Jennifer and Sarah Harbinson, Eliza Thomas, and Amy Ayers, back in December of 1991.
Yeah, senior investigative reporter Tony Plahetsky is here with us with what he's learned about this break in the case. And Tony, it is hard to overstate the significance of this news that we're delivering right now.
Mark and Quita, of course, when you think about the yogurt shop murders in Austin, they are interwoven into the fabric of the city. It was a defining moment for the city. There has been a search for answers for decades, and to reach.
Was that a Christmas song by Bob and Zip and a beer? Is that Bob and Zip? No, that might have been. Yeah, that was Bob and Zip. Marino. and a beer. I think that was Bob and Zip. Mackenzie?
Reach this point, I want to tell you how they got here. Law enforcement believe that they have been able to finally find this killer through what experts call genetic genealogy. I know a lot of people have heard about this because
Isn't it awesome? It's just so great that these, it just sucks that this guy's dead already. Bob and Doug. It was, I think. I thought it was Bob and Zip. I drank Mickey's before I turned 21. Coors Extra Gold. I drank Coors Extra Gold. If I didn't have if I couldn't have Coors Extra Gold, it was Michelob. Yes, there's tons of them. Tons of cases. It's just way too many cases. Bob and Doug. Bob and Doug McKenzie. Is that it? Why am I keep saying Bob and Zip? Those are the guys in Strange Brew, right? The movie Strange Brew.
that's been used to solve other
Rick Moranis, right?
crimes, other cold cases across the country. Now, let me tell you a bit more about what has happened within the past couple of hours. Authorities are now prepared, they say, to name a man they believe who is a serial killer who is responsible for these deaths. They say he is responsible for at least 3 other murders across the nation. That man, his name is Robert Eugene Brashers. He had no known ties to Austin other than these murders.
Chuck would know this guy.
He did not live here. He did not work here. He died by suicide in early 1999. That's about 8 years after the yogurt.
That's one thing about Chuck, Charlie Manson, necessarily evil. He's probably the best I've ever met when it comes to SK'ers. He knows them like that. And I have to, I mean, I know him too. It's just, I can't remember like the names. Always escape me.
Shop murders. This timing is tragically noteworthy, and I want to tell you why. It's also about 8 months before Austin police charged 4 other men with the yogurt shop murders, cases that, of course, we know ultimately collapsed over the next decade. This afternoon, it is our understanding that law enforcement has been in touch with the families of the yogurt shop murder victims to inform them of this development. That has been tantamount to their priority after confirming this DNA analysis in recent days. They have wanted to get to the families and make sure that they heard it directly from law enforcement, had all of this explained to them before the information was made public. And so that is what has been happening this afternoon. Austin Police Department, we do understand that they are prepared to notify the public in an official way this afternoon. They are also looking at conducting a wider news conference early next week where they will explain to the public the DNA evidence that has been used to, again, solve in their minds and in their words, these yogurt shop murders.
Yeah, he was great. Rick Moranis, isn't he dead? Didn't he die? He was great in Ghostbusters, and he was also good in Spaceballs. He's had tons of movies. Pretty sure he's dead.
A defining moment for Austin once and for all.
You know, Tony, you mentioned that this was a defining moment. This has been in the
He's
fabric
alive?
of Austin's history here.
No, Rick Moranis is alive? He's going to be in the reboot of Spaceballs, so he's alive then. He must be alive. That was one of the funniest movies ever. John Candy was good in that too.
Let's go back over what happened because, as you know, Austin has changed a lot in the last 34 years, and many of our viewers may not know the significance of that night back in 1991.
Yeah, 1991, and I can't believe it's yogurt shop, not very far from here, actually, in North Austin along Anderson Lane. Two of the young girls were working at that yogurt shop, again, December 1991, and the two others, including the younger sister of one of the employees, she was there visiting. Authorities have said for decades that around closing time, a gunman came in and forced the girls into a storage room in the back of the shop. They were ordered to disrobe. They were bound. Each of them was shot in the back of the head. The store and the girls were doused with
Triggering. This is just an awful story. Just terrible.
gasoline and set ablaze. That made this case so difficult to investigate because so much of the evidence was destroyed during that fire. But steadfastly, over decades.
Yeah, John Candy. John Candy will always be one of my favorite comedian actors / comedian guys. John Candy was. I know that John Candy's dead, right? He's no longer with us, but he was so good in the Spaceballs. Just great movie for him.
Authorities have worked to reach the conclusion that they say they are reaching today. But it is, of course, noteworthy. And as these murders are part of Austin's history, unfortunately, there is also a part of Austin police history that will undoubtedly become part of the conversation. And that is in 1990.
I think John Candy's Canadian. Uncle Buck. Yeah, Uncle Buck was good. He was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too, right?
1999, 4 young men were arrested and charged with these murders, and it is our understanding that they.
Charles, you're gonna have to rewind because I said something good about you. Dieter's back too. Necessarily Evil's back, and Dieter's back. Welcome back. He was great in The Coach and Cool Runnings. Yes. I forgot about the movie Splash. Boston Christian's here too. Hey, Boston Christian, good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good night.
They are going to be essentially declared innocent. Keep in mind, one of them, Robert Springsteen, was actually convicted and sentenced. I can't overstate this enough. Sentenced to death row, sentenced to die for these murders before the case against him was overturned in the early to mid 2000s, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
And I know the Court of Criminal Appeals, they actually overturned those convictions because the confessions that were used improperly during their trials.
That's right. 2 of the men confessed to the murders. They, of course, later recanted those confessions and said that those confessions were coerced by the Austin Police Department. Keep in mind, this police work was being done in the mid to late.
I knew that's what you were looking for. And a beer. On the 7th day of Christmas, when True Love gave to me 7 packs of smoke, 6 packs of 2, 4, 5 golden. And a beer. That was such a great movie. Was he in Planes, Trains, and Automobile too? I think he was.
Late 90s, at a time when there was a lot of conversation about authorities, not just in Austin, but across the country, using tactics that have since been banned, essentially, to try to ascertain confessions from suspected killers. Through the years, as this investigation has proceeded, after their convictions were overturned, after the charges were dropped against them, keep in mind, of course, they have had a dark cloud over them through all.
I think all of those guys were on SCTV. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure John Candy was on that too. But they all came from that SCTV. It's kind of like an offshoot of, I think it was the Canadian version of Saturday Night Live. But that show was hysterically funny too.
all these years, being labeled a murderer. We know that one of them, Maurice Pierce, actually died in 2010 after a confrontation with an Austin police officer. He actually stabbed that police officer in the neck before the police officer returned fire. But there is a picture, and again, this video that we
Okay, they had a guy. They suspected a guy had done these murders, and he was sent to death row on a conviction for these, and turns out he had nothing to do with it.
have goes back decades, that this case has dominated headlines off and on. And I also want to point out that this case has drawn so much fascination, not just here in Austin, but across the country. It, as we know.
Oh, this is for the yogurt shop murders. I forget his name already.
The subject of multiple documentaries,
Doesn't
online
matter.
chat forums where
Doesn't matter. He's dead anyways.
people are working to solve the murders. But most recently, as many people in our community know, there has been an ongoing HBO documentary as well that has again put the national spotlight on this case. And a lot of people have asked me, is any of this tied to the documentary? The answer to that is no. And keep in mind that this DNA test.
Yeah, Robert Bashers. But they had tied this crime to another person, and he almost got the DP for it.
Testing has been going on off and on for a number of years, and most importantly, the work that has gone on to this investigation has been quite literally decades in the making, with a generation.
Have a good night, Carol. Always good to see Carol in here. Carol's always one of my strongest supporters here. She's awesome. Good to see Carol. I hope you have a good night. Yeah, they released him. I wonder if he sued them. I'm sure he did. Always good to see Carol in here. Have a great week, Carol. He was a convicted felon, well, a long time before the other one. Robert Bashers?
Of investigators examining what happened.
Tony, it is 5 o'clock right now. For our viewers that are joining us for the 5 o'clock newscast, you have reached us in the middle of a big breaking.
Yeah, Boston Christian's amazing. All right, so we're just going over the same shit here. So let's get to something else here. So they took care of that. That's done. Let's see here. We'll go to the missing case of the week here. Hold on a second. The hell am I doing? For essay and attempted unaliving. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. All right, so this week's missing persons case is coming from my favorite series on this. This is the News Nation missing people of the week here. This is about Jesse Farber, still missing 10 years after a frantic phone call for help. Jesse Farber vanished 10 years ago this week after a panic phone call with his best friend and partner, Rachel Carroll. Farber said he was in danger, surrounded by coyotes, and needed help. And that was the last time anybody heard from him, I think. In the years since, she's hired a private investigator to search the two wooded areas she believes Jesse may have been at night. She called. She's now raising the two kids she shares with Farber on her own, celebrating birthdays and family occasions, hoping to keep his memory alive. So this is the missing person case of the week here. And I got the thing pulled up here. So we'll get into a little bit of this, and then we'll read a little bit, and then we'll try to figure out what's going on here.
No matter their race, background, or circumstances. By highlighting these cases and sharing their stories, we believe every case is solvable, and together we can bring answers to the family and friends of the missing. This week's featured case, Another Birthday, comes and goes with no sign of Jesse Farber. Jesse should be with his family and friends this week, celebrating his 40th birthday. Instead, those closest to him wondering where he is. What happened to the man from Pennsylvania who loved his family deeply and would do anything for them?
We were best friends before we went into a relationship, and we became parents together. We grew up together. I mean, he was with me all the time, and he's missing, and so.
Yeah, I'll get to Dee Dee's boyfriend soon. Because they got pretty sure they got the results back, and he's definitely dead. So,
part of me is missing out there.
Rachel Carroll says she got a frantic call from Jesse on the night of August 11th, 2015, and he told her to bring guns, that he was in a tree and surrounded by coyotes. Was he hallucinating? Was he in danger? 10 years later, the search of 2 wooded areas, and still no sign of Jesse. Before we get to Jesse's disappearance.
All right, so let's go here. Do a little bit of reading here. Whoops. All right. On August 11, 2015, 29-year-old Jesse Farber vanished under mysterious circumstances in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. That evening, he made a frantic phone call to his girlfriend, Rachel Carroll, claiming he was... is that a cell phone? Claiming he was being chased by 10 to 12 coyotes. Are the coyotes in Pennsylvania? Really? And he had climbed up a tree to escape. He mentioned being near the high school mountain. He mentioned being near the high school mountain, but then changed his location to the elementary school mountain before the call got disconnected. Despite extensive searches, including the use of high-tech robot lowered into a 400-foot mine shaft, no trace of Jesse was found. In December 2016, a hunter discovered a pair of sweatpants and a backpack in a tree near a coal ridge of cliffs and hidden tunnels. But there is doubt about whether these were really Jesse's belongings. Nearly a decade later, Rachel Carroll continues her relentless pursuit for answers. She organizes search parties and collaborates with organizations to help keep the search alive. As a missing persons private investigator and search and rescue specialist from Search Investigations, I have joined the effort. So they got a private investigator here. All right, so I'll pull up a couple of maps here, and then we'll find out where the hell this is. Georgia State, I think missing. Hold on a second. All right, so here's this here.
Another case we want to provide an update on. This is Gana Kovrizhainik. She goes by Angel, reported missing on July 12th. The 38-year-old was on a cross-country road trip that started in Florida. According to the San Diego County Sheriff's Office, relatives say they last.
Have they found a 12-year-old girl, 2-year-old brother, Georgia State? I think missing since yesterday. Eve, possibly. I'll look that up. I'll try to look that up for you. Was napping. Who's dead?
Last saw and heard from her on July 5th. She was driving through San Diego County at the time. Her vehicle.
Yeah, this was done a day ago, I think. So things might have changed.
And trailer were found in Potrero, California. Police say it's possible she could have crossed into Mexico near Tecate. She has several tattoos on her arm and leg. According to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, Angel's mother got a photo of a letter with GPS coordinates instructing her to give Angel's personal belongings to her mom. Anyone with information about Angel's whereabouts is asked to contact the San Diego Sheriff's Office. Now to the disappearance of Jesse Farber. Today is Jesse's 40th birthday, one his family and friends will mark without him. It's been 10 years since Jesse vanished from his home in Pennsylvania. A frantic last phone call for help still replaying in their mind.
He was very involved with our kids, very loving, very supportive. He wanted the best for, his little family.
Rachel Carroll has been looking for Jesse Farber for 10 years.
We were best friends before we went into a relationship and we became parents together. We grew up together. I mean, he was with me all the time, and he's missing, and so part of me is missing out there.
On August 1st, 2015, the couple had an argument over some missing money from Jesse's paychecks. Jesse left their apartment to stay at his grandmother's and some friends' houses for the next week. Rachel said his mind was burdened.
Very supportive. He wanted the best for, his little family.
Rachel Carroll has been looking for Jesse Farber for 10 years.
We were best friends before we went into a relationship and we became parents together. We grew up together. I mean, he was with me all the time, and he's missing, and so part of me is missing out there.
On August 1st, 2015, the couple had an argument over some missing money from Jesse's paychecks. Jesse left their apartment to stay at his grandmother's and some friends' houses for the next week. Rachel said his mind was burdened.
The last day that I physically seen Jesse was August 8th. He said to me that, he had to do something on his own, and basically when he dealt with that, everything would be okay, and we'd be, he'd come back home and we'd be back together again, everything like that, which made me worry even more because it seemed like there was definitely something going on.
2 days later, Monday, August 10th, Jesse skipped work. Rachel said she heard he met with a woman trying to get some money back that she had taken from him. Then he stayed with some friends from that crowd overnight. And although Rachel says he wasn't known to use drugs, he used meth, playing video games well into the night.
We've got a large chunk of his file, and in that are Facebook Messenger messages. He had done some meth. He tried to purchase some more, and there was a girl that actually ripped him off. And so there's some conversations that day that he went missing going on about.
All right, so hold on a second here. He's the one that sent the Patties the oh yeah. We had his channel taken out. So here's this is where I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Tamaqua here, Pennsylvania. So this is I knew that name sounded familiar. So this is the truckers route here. And years ago when we used to come down to go to the Carolinas here, we take, instead of going down 95, we take the truckers route here. Which, I mean, if you have ever been through Pennsylvania the long way, like this way here, you're in Pennsylvania forever. And they are always doing construction here. No matter when, they're always doing it. New Jersey barriers all over the freaking place. And there's usually, I don't know, 400, 500, maybe 1,000 dead deer along this highway here. And they're really tiny. But anyways, this is where Tamaqua is, and I'll try to locate the high school here. But this is where this is here. So we'll go back to this in a second. But yeah, this is the great state of Pennsylvania. Okay, so let's go back. It's the first I've heard of this case, I think.
Back and forth about him trying to recover that money.
None of these people were somebody in his daily life or anything. Like everything about this is very out of character for him.
At 8:43 on the night of August 11th, Rachel got a frantic call from Jesse.
He said, bring guns. I'm in a tree. 10 to 11 coyotes are after me and my phone's going to die. It was really quiet in the background. Like it didn't sound like there was animals, around him or anything like that. It's definitely a possibility that he was hallucinating.
Jesse and Rachel knew the woods, but Jesse gave Rachel 2 locations of where he was calling from. One on a mountain by the high school, the other on a mountain by the elementary school. The locations were across town from each other.
And he went back and said, no, I'm at, the Tamaulipas High School, the mountain up there. And I said, are you sure? And he said, yes. And then I asked him, well, where exactly are you at? And that's when the phone died.
Search teams and cadaver dogs searched the mountain behind the high school.
And there was dive teams, there was mine shaft search, there was all kinds of stuff. And for, I'd say about 8 years, that's where we searched.
8 years of searching, yielding few results. 2 bags were found, but Rachel never saw them. Rachel was told the first bag, found in 2015 on the mountain near the elementary school, had Jesse's license in it. The second.
Hold on a second here. I saw bear last night. Okay, so we are going to go now to here. This is the high school right here, and this is Cole Street. I mean, it's a high school, but this is it's hard for me to believe. Have to get turn around here. Probably this hill right here. I don't know if that's a hill, right? So they probably searched over in here somewhere. Is this a trail? Oh, look at this. So let me go up the trail. It must be okay, we'll go back to this here, but that was the high school there, so I'll try to find the elementary school here. This definitely looks like Pennsylvania for sure. All right, so hold on a second. We'll go back to because it said something about the elementary school too.
Second bag, found a year later in a tree, had clothing and a phone charger in
Is this that trail, you think?
it. But there's been no way for Rachel to verify either discovery. So Rachel hired a private investigator, Steve Fisher. Through phone records and data analysis, Fisher discovered Jesse's phone actually pinged off the other mountain location Jesse had mentioned, behind the elementary school.
We think we got
Behind the elementary school. Okay, so
about a 1 mile.
So it was a cell phone and not a landline. Okay, very good.
Area that varies in width, a couple hundred yards. So it's not a huge area, but it's a tricky area. And it's along a ridge line, and there is open mine shafts in that area.
Some of the holes that I've seen, it's crazy to look at, and it's just straight up and down. And if you're running in the dark and you slid into one and fell, there's no doubt that he got hurt, and he probably wouldn't have seen it coming.
For now, Rachel is raising money to hire a team for a more extensive search into these mines.
With the professionals, they could bring in equipment. They could bring in stuff that could, sonar for underwater and stuff like, all the stuff that we could, it would help eliminate a lot of options.
Fisher has his own theory.
He was scared at whatever he was perceiving. He felt he was being chased, and he was in the dark, and there is some just sheer drop-offs there. Unfortunately, you can literally run right off off a cliff.
I understand I might never know what happened, but if I could bring him home to our kids and give him peace, that's what matters most.
Again, it's been 10 years. Jesse would be 40 years old, celebrating that birthday this week. Rachel Carroll is with us now. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. As I listened to you recount the story all those years ago, the private investigator, the clues, are you all operating under the impression that Jesse fell or somehow walked off of a cliff because he was scared versus anything nefarious?
For the most part, that's what I believe. I believe that he was running because he was scared, and he might have fell into one of the stripping pits or one of the holes up there. There's so many, and it's treacherous, especially at nighttime. If you're running, and you could slip, and you wouldn't even see that ahead of you.
Because of that idea, that theory, it's peculiar that the two bags were in different locations. How does the private investigator or police explain that?
Well, I've been trying to see these bags for quite a long time because I feel like if I could see them, I'd have a better idea of where he actually was. They do believe that the bag on the high school mountain was his because family members of his have said that it was his. I did see a picture, and I didn't believe it didn't match his bag. So I still basically I looked and searched in both these areas quite a few times just to make sure. But as for knowing for sure, hopefully one day I'll be able to see them. And with the police, they just said they didn't keep the bags for evidence or anything like that. And I asked if they were able to provide a picture or get the bags to see them. And they said that there was nothing they could do right now.
Is that because the investigation is active? And is it in fact active? Are you in touch with police or the family?
It is active. The police do take in reports, but I don't know if they're actually looking into everything, but I am in touch with the police and they are very helpful.
What about this community, Rachel, Tamaqua, Pennsylvania? Tell us about the area, how familiar you and Jesse are with it.
Well, it's an old coal mining town. So basically the town itself sits inside lake. It's almost like a bowl. And there's mountains that surround the
Okay, I can't get to the elementary school, obviously, because Miss JCN's here. Hey, JCN, good to see you. She needs to hire a new PI. He's just awful. Yeah, he's everywhere. That guy's everywhere. JCN's in here. Stops for pedestrians. I don't know if I do. It's 10 points. Tattoos, I'm done. Good night. Are you taking off, Dieter? If you are, have a good night. JCN's here. JCN's got a great channel too. Let's see here. So I can't get to the elementary school, but believe me when I tell you this, it's there. But I can also get the the area here, but I'm assuming, I mean, it's a nice neighborhood. It's weird. Hold on a second. Trying to get some directions here. This way, I got to go that way here. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get to. I mean, this is a nice neighborhood. What's the matter with and 10 points are 10 points for sure. So this is basically the street here. Well, it's not. But look at this. This is a nice neighborhood. Thinking maybe we can go. So anyways, this is where apparently the backpack and stuff were found, right? Is that what she said? And I can't go any further than that, obviously, because it's a school. But so in this area here. All right. Oh. Watch for the pedestrians in the crosswalk there. Yeah.
The whole town. So we, growing up there, a lot of people would spend a lot of time in the woods. Like we would go up and have fires, hiking, four-wheeling's a big thing up here. So we were very familiar with the woods.
Is Jesse's disappearance, Rachel, still something people talk about now, a decade later?
Absolutely. It's like definitely a big thing everybody talks about in this town and even surrounding areas. A lot of people know about his case. And I've been trying to keep it, out in the headlines and stuff like that as much as possible, just so he's not forgotten, and for support for people to, keep coming to searches and stuff like that, which the community has been very great.
Yeah, it's brave what you're doing and important to be his advocate. The people that he was with that night, prior to that phone call that you had with him, have they said anything more about how he was doing, his demeanor, what happened that night?
They said that everything was okay from the people that I talked to that he spent the night with. They said he was happy, just hanging out, basically letting off steam. They didn't mention anything about him being worried about anything like how I was worried he was upset about something in those days before his disappearance. But the only thing that they did mention was that he was afraid of going to meet this person who.
Okay, so yes, to answer my question, there is coyotes found throughout all of Pennsylvania, including urban and suburban areas. So, it's possible.
Ripped off him for that money. He felt like uneasy about it, and in the messages, it kind of like shows that a bit, in my opinion.
Have police ruled out any persons of interest at this point?
I'm not sure on that. I know they've talked to all those people and stuff, but I'm not sure if they're actually like looking into anything like that.
10 years is a long time to not have Jesse. You say you're missing a piece of you with him gone. How do you mark the occasion of his birthday and all the other special occasions that you celebrate with the kids not having him around?
Well, usually like for tomorrow, we're planning to actually have like a family dinner and even like a birthday cake for Jesse. I think it's important that the kids know that he, they understand how much he was a part of our lives, even though he's still not here, and how much we love him and miss him.
How many kids do you guys share, and how old are the kids now?
We have 2 kids.
For a show of hands, how many people think this is a drug thing?
Our son is 15 and our daughter is 11.
How did you and Jesse meet, Rachel?
We met through mutual friends. We met as teenagers, actually, and we were really good friends for quite a few years before we even started a relationship. So we've known each other and we've been close for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you're going through this, and 10 years, as I said, is a long time not to have the answers that you deserve. If there's anything that you could say to Jesse right now, what would you say?
I would say that I love you so much, and like I promised you before, I'm never gonna give up. I'm here no matter what. If you're out there, I'm just
Anybody think she's involved in this?
gonna keep going until I find you to bring you home to the kids. We love you and we miss you.
Finally, Rachel, are there more searches planned? I mean, there's a lot of area out there still to look. How do you navigate that? And is there anything else on the horizon to help try to uncover clues?
Yeah, we are actually doing a search this Saturday, so it'll be the day after his birthday. And we do searches at least once a month, depending if we do searches for the other missing people around here. But last August we did one every week, actually. So we're gonna keep searching.
No, I don't think they found. The only thing they found is a pair of sweatpants and a backpack in a tree. So that was in a tree near a coal ridge, and that was in 2016. And it's not really known whether those items were his or not. So you don't think she's involved? Okay. There's a pretty good chance this is a DRUG thing.
And what we do is,
Or, I don't want to say this because he's the missing one, but he might have been having an affair. I don't know. Something like that. You always want to try to think motive. That's what I try to do, motive first. Like, what would the motive be? Whenever you got a guy calling and saying he's in a tree being chased by 10 or 12 coyotes, I'm not saying that's impossible, but I don't know. And then the call got disconnected. See, so it's he mentioned being near a high school mountain, but then changed his location. So the last location he was known in with the phone was at the elementary school, and that's it's about 5 minutes away. Possible fair, yeah.
thanks to my private investigator, Steve, he actually provided me with like a map. So when we do go out searching, it tracks my location. So we have a good idea of where we've been.
I hate to say that stuff because he's missing, but it's possible that he might have got involved in the wrong type of people. I don't know, maybe through an affair or just the who knows.
Before, so we're not constantly covering the same grounds. So
what was he doing at the schools though? That's weird. If we can figure that out, that might be a help. Why was he at the schools in the first place?
we're going to keep searching until we get that new area that he
Or near the schools, because I don't know if he was actually at the schools, but he was near the schools for sure.
provided covered as well as we can, and hopefully in the future we can get those professionals in with the equipment to search the areas that are just basically impossible and too dangerous for just volunteers to search.
Yeah, well, relentless in that search. Keep us posted, Rachel, this Saturday's.
It's possible he could have just taken off too. I mean, it happens.
You guys search again, and my thanks to you and to everyone for keeping Jesse's story out there, and we are thankful to be able to spotlight it with you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
And thank you for sharing Jesse's story.
Thank you. If you have any information on the disappearance of Jesse Farber.
Okay, so this is the number. This is Jesse Farber, Tamaqua Police Department, 570-668-5000, right? So eventually I'm going to chronologize these missing case things and try to at least organize them on my video page thing with all of these contact information things. But That's not going to happen right this very second, and it might not ever happen. So, but I'm going to try. But this is him here, and he's been missing for what, 10 years? So, I don't know why people do that. They hire private investigators, and it doesn't ever seem to do anything. Okay, so as a I'm just going to read this. As a missing persons private investigator and search rescue specialist for search investigations, I have joined the effort to locate Jesse's remains. Utilizing cell phone ping data, we aim to define a target search area and assemble. One thing I do want to check. Hold on a second here. There's a cemetery right there too. Hold on a second here. Let me get out of this for a second. I can't even. I'm not going to say that. Yes, it's also possible that he just walked away. 2 seconds here. I'm gonna. There's a cemetery right here. And I know this is mining country in here, right? This is there's a lake here. Owl Creek Road. Look at that, Owl Creek Road. That's cool. Trying to look for little streams or creeks or. It looks like a little pond there. Anyways, I don't know. I always look for little bodies of water there because that's the best place to put a body is in water here. I can't get over here. All right, well, I'll just get out of here. I'll look for there's Greenwood Lake right there. I'm sure there's I mean there's tons of waterways around here, so I mean it could be anywhere. But this is, interesting here, these little waterways here. All right, so let's get out of here and I'll try to find out more information on this here. Owl Creek Road and Prowl Danger Drive. That's too funny. Miranda's here. Hey, Miranda, how are you? Good to see you. Any job activity on a social? Yeah, that's a good question. How is Miranda doing? I know last time we talked to Miranda, she wasn't doing well. Miranda's amazing too. Yeah, this is a good question. Any job activity on his social security number? If not, I'd say deceased. Yeah, I mean, I put him just walking away at maybe very low, like 10%. It's possible, but to me this smells of like some sort of like some sort of a friend drug type thing, or maybe even an affair that he was having with somebody and somebody didn't like it, something like that. I don't think it was coyotes. Recovering from brain surgery and you got a kidney infection too? Been hospitalized twice. I'm out now just getting daily. Oh my God, you poor thing. Oh, I hope you get better soon, Miranda. That's terrible. All right, so let's go to this here. And I found out about this from John Kelly. I don't know if you guys know who John Kelly is. But he did a thing on this here. And I didn't know about this until I saw him do a thing on this from so we've been doing a lot, haven't been doing a lot lately on the Ladybird Lake things, unalivings, but this is coming out of Houston here. And like I said, I didn't know this about any of this until his live. So another woman's body found in the Houston Bayou. This is the 6th body in 10 days. So Houston police say they received a call around 11:30 p.m. about a person in Buffalo Bayou near Commerce and Milam, if I'm pronouncing that right. So this is strange. The Bayou bodies, they're calling this here.
More surveillance along our bayous after another body is found in a Houston waterway.
Police say a woman's body was found in Buffalo Bayou near Commerce and Milam Streets downtown.
So there's one last night, Buffalo Bayou here. I'm gonna have to look that up. Okay, Buffalo Bayou here, Greens Bayou, Buffalo Bayou here, Brays Bayou. So there's 1, 2, 3, 6.
Down last night. This is the 6th body recovered in less than 2 weeks from bayous across town. 5 of the deceased have now been identified.
Orko Mano live downtown, and Orko, our viewers have been very vocal about what they want to see in response to this. Tell us.
Yeah, Len, our comment sections on social media are filled with people saying more surveillance cameras are needed along the bayou. City leaders tell me that's just not feasible, but criminal justice experts say cameras might be the best way to prove what city officials and police have been saying all along, that no serial killer is on the loose. Another body found in Houston's bayous. Police say a woman was spotted in the water near Commerce and Milam Streets around 11:30 last night.
Officers were alerted to this by people that are riding by on scooters, and when they noticed something that appeared to be a body.
This is the 6th body recovered in bayous in less than 2 weeks, leading many to believe it's the work of a serial killer. City leaders saying earlier this week that's not the case.
There is no.
But I know Gretchen does. I just happened to wake up and wanted to say hi to everybody. My dog finally came home. He's been staying with my kid in Ann Arbor while I've been recovering. Glad to have Finn back. Oh, that's awesome. They say that animals are good therapy, right? It's always good to see you, Miranda. I just hope you start feeling better. All right, so hold on a second here. I mean, Houston's a big place. Houston is how many people are in Houston? Hold on a second here. .32, hold on. Almost 2.4 million people in Houston. So it's a big place. So you would have, I don't know, I can't do the math, but yeah, I just hope you feel better. That sucks. So you would think that there'd be unalivings here, right? Every month. Before I can't dive into it right now, but I wonder what the attrition rate is here as far as but there's Buffalo Bayou there. Let's get some images here. Strange how they're in water, though. Every time I hear water's involved, it's kind of strange because I mean, this is a big waterway, though. Oh, look. swimming with the fishes. I mean, this is a beautiful place here. I don't know. Let's go back to this here. Right? I mean, they're pretty adamant though that these are not connected.
No evidence that there's a serial killer loose on the streets of Houston.
But the public wants answers. KHOU 11 viewers.
This is so freaking similar to the Lady Bird Lake thing, though. Like, everybody's freaking panicking that there's an SK'er out there. But you take 2.4 million. I mean, that's a lot of freaking people. You're gonna have, especially in a big city, you're gonna have unalivings. That's for sure.
Hannah, Lucy, and Chris all commenting.
I mean, unfortunately, right?
On our posts online asking for more surveillance cameras by the water. I brought that to City Council member Carolyn Evans Shabazz. A lot of people have come to us asking for more surveillance by the water. Is that something the City Council is looking into?
I have heard that suggestion, but I don't know how we could implement that. To say that we can install cameras, we would have no idea where to put them because we don't know where the bodies went into the bayou.
To be honest, serial killers are very rare.
Even so, criminal justice expert Krista Gehring tells me more cameras might be what's needed to put those rumors to rest.
How important is it to try to show that to people?
The SK'ers are very rare. It's like one of the rarest crimes ever, right? So, but anytime you have 6 bodies showing up in a couple of weeks, it's kind of strange.
Who are convinced there is a serial killer.
I think it's very important because obviously when you have these bodies showing up seemingly all at once,
I have no idea. I know that John Kelly did a big, almost like an hour-long thing on. He never does things like that. It is strange. I don't know if they were all homicides or not. Apparently, the police don't believe anything's going on here, but
there's obvious concern. The camera might actually capture.
Whenever John Kelly does something, it's usually got some promise to it, I think. But
where an individual falls into the bayou or has an accident or is intoxicated.
no, he's not the type of person that's going to come on and do a story on something if it's just to get clicks and views. I don't think so. But it might be a nothing burger, but I thought I'd look into it.
Or whatever, because that's likely what is happening.
Now, I also reached out to the Houston Parks Board, which manages many.
Okay, so as with any public space, residents should remain aware of their surroundings. What the hell does that mean? What does remain aware of the surroundings mean? Stay cautious and vigilant. I mean, they should define these things, right? And if you see anything, call 911. Okay.
Trails around the bayous and asked if they planned on installing more safety measures, including cameras. They sent me a statement only saying in part, quote, as with any public space, residents should remain aware of their surroundings.
So the Lady Bird Lake thing, it's just strange because that happened. That's going on. Lady Bird Lake, that's up by Austin, right? So, and I've done 6, 7 lives on the Lady Bird Lake things. And it's just strange how all of a sudden now there's 6 people dead, women, in 10 days down here in Houston. I know it's pretty far away, but
Stay cautious and vigilant, and if you see anything, call 911. They add that they rely on the city and county's law enforcement departments for public safety. I also reached out to Houston Police this afternoon for more updates on any safety measures here, but they only referred me to a press conference they had earlier this week.
Put it this way, if there is an SK'er, the residents will be the last to know. That's all. That's always the case.
With the mayor. Reporting live downtown tonight, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
I mean, how long did it take for them to do something about, to put out to the public that there was a problem with the Golden State Killer, right? Forever. So if there is something going on, you're probably not going to know.
Well, awfully worried about what's happening here. Orko Manna, thank you for the update.
All right, so that's that. This match game, up to 1974. We just walked into 1970, so I'm watching all the reruns of match game 71. We're into 1975 though. Oh, it's a great show. All right, something wrong with me tonight, I think. Something wrong with me every night. All right, so we're gonna go to this is very disturbing. Oh no, this is Houston. So we had 6 people the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it's crazy. Yes. But we'll go there really quickly. Hold on a second. I don't want to do that. I'm going to be following this case too, the Jacqueline Snyder case here in New Hampshire, but I'm not going to be doing that tonight. Let's go here, Lady Bird Lake. So this was done 3 months ago, but there's 3 dozen bodies found in and around Lady Bird Lake since 2022, and this has been going on forever. It seems like now, but it's been quiet for the last few months for sure. But we'll play this here. I mean, Dallas, Houston, these are all big cities, right? Hold on a second. So you're going to have, I mean, a lot of unaliving. It's just the way it is. It's, violence, unfortunately. And anytime you have, I mean, this is a huge lake. This is a huge waterway down here in Texas. So, they're saying no, but it's just strange how, there's this Austin thing here, and now there's stuff going on down in Houston.
Have caught people's
The Lady Bird Lake, this Lady Bird Lake thing, though, most of these people that are unalived are males.
attention with speculation surrounding the possibility of a serial killer, but investigators have found no reason to believe that. There have been at least 38 bodies found in or around Lady Bird Lake since 2022, according to data obtained by Fox 7.
I've actually asked Alex Voorhees if he could look into this here. So I don't know if he did anything on it.
Of those, 30 were male. About 60% were between the
So, this is a lot, but like I said, it's a big city, so I don't know if that's a lot or not. I don't know. I'd have to do crazy math and crazy, analysis just to get into how many people normally die every year in this lake here or surrounding lakes, involuntarily. I don't know. Weird.
the ages of 30 and 49. Only 2 of them were teenagers, including the body found on Tuesday.
Another paddleboarder was here out on Lady Bird Lake and notified us that it appeared that an individual was deceased and floating on Lady Bird Lake.
While the latest body to surface in the lake has not been identified yet, Austin police believe it's likely the teenager who went missing on Sunday. He was paddleboarding and kayaking with.
So I must have missed this one because this is a newer one. Because I don't remember there being. I've done 3 or 4 different lives on the Lady Bird Lake thing.
His family. We're told he got off to stand in shallow waters, but unknowingly was near an underwater shelf which is a sudden drop off in the lake.
At some point during their paddleboarding session, one of the individuals went missing.
Who paddleboards and doesn't know how to swim? That's just weird.
From their family.
He stepped or slipped off and never resurfaced. His backpack and life jacket were still on the board.
The individual that we have today is wearing the same clothes as the person that was reported missing Sunday evening,
making him at least the 7th body of 2025 in Lady Bird Lake. In the past 3 years, the causes of death have mainly been attributed to accidental drownings. Second is suicide, as well as drug overdoses and natural causes. Only one case has been ruled a murder. About half a dozen of these cases remain unknown. The Austin Police Department continues to reiterate.
This one here, this whole Lady Bird Lake one is, to me, a little bit more suspicious than the Houston ones, latest ones. But, you know, you never know. I mean, like I said, they said the same thing over there in Oregon, that there was no SK'er up there, and turns out there was. They just arrested the guy. He was just tried. So if there is, you'll be the last to know.
Reiterate that there's no reason for them to believe these deaths are connected.
All right, so that's that. I just wanted to show DD that one. All right, so we're going to go to this clown here. I thought this was kind of interesting here, just to show you the mind of a killer here. This is going to the Brian Koberger thing here. This is him in Costco hours after he supposedly unalived these individuals here. New video shows Brian Koberger being turned away from a Costco in the hours after the 4 University of Idaho students were unalived. Koberger is serving, so we know that. But this is him.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And Mr. Koberg, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence?
Yes.
Let's talk about what's trending in true crime, shall we? There is brand new video footage of Brian Koberger's movements just hours after he murdered those 4 University of Idaho students. He's seen on security video trying to gain access to a Costco store. Look at this, but he's refused entry because he's not a member. Now, this is in Clarkston, Washington, which is about 20 miles from Moscow, Idaho, where the murders happened. Koberger, if you notice here, keeps his left hand inside of his left pocket, presumably because that's the hand that was injured during the homicides. These people have no idea who just walked into their store, right? I mean, think about how everything would come out later. You see him leave there. Now, investigative podcaster Gray Hughes obtained this video, and let's take a listen to Gray describing how Koberger ends up leaving the parking lot.
I think that's why I didn't want to play this one. So let's do this one here. I can't watch Gray Hughes. Sorry.
Channel Gray Hughes.
Oh, that's him again. Is he on both of them?
Brian Koberger on video at Costco just hours after he murdered 4 University of Idaho students. It's just one.
I cannot do Gray Hughes on any of those at all. So hopefully he's not on this one. I mean, he's the last person anybody should want to have on their show, as far as I'm concerned.
Of several new pieces of video that we're seeing from the Moscow Police Department. I'll go through them and tell you what they show. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette. Brian Koberger.
I mean, it's like he's infiltrated News Nation now. My God. And I honestly don't have anything against the guy. It's just he's so opinionated and so, like, he's the worst person. Like, if you're gonna have a YouTuber on there, right, have somebody that's less opinionated than him, right? it's just that's not a good way to, as far as I'm concerned, to promote your media station. But she might have him on there too, because she's been on his in his chat. So who knows? Tried to spare you the Gray Houston.
Berger, of course, is just 2 months into his time at Idaho's maximum security institution, where he's serving 4 consecutive life sentences. He's admitted to murdering Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin at the house on King Road on November 13th, 2022. That date changed Moscow forever, and it shattered the lives of 4 families: Maddie's, Kaylee's, Xana's, and Ethan's. Those 4 young people died for absolutely no reason at all. As Moscow police investigated and identified Bryan Kohberger as a suspect, they traced his movements that day as best they could, and they found a lot of videos of him and, of course, photos. I've already shown you the countless selfies, but the one from that day.
He almost looks like he's got a broken nose here. I wonder if he had his nose broken at some point.
The infamous thumbs up in the bathroom mirror selfie is just creepy, knowing what we know now. It's frightening. Bryan Kohberger's hands are red, likely from scrubbing them, and he has a Band-Aid on one finger. Later that morning, it was 12:34 p.m. on November 13th, 2022, when Bryan Kohberger, wearing the same clothes.
Look, he just, if you believe he did it, which I do, right? But I listen to everybody's opinions, so I don't mind opinions. But this is the mind of a monster right here, right? He just unalived 4 people, and he's just walking into with a drink. And I think this is a greeter, right? Do they have greeters at Costco?
He wore in the thumbs up bathroom selfie, walked into Costco in Clarkston, Washington, with a bottled drink in his hand. He met a clerk who was standing at the door, because at Costco, you, of course, have to show your membership to get in. You can't shop.
Really? Do you really have to show a membership at Costco? I didn't know that. I've broken the law then, because I've been in the Costco before. This is so weird. I gotta see this again.
Same clothes he wore in the thumbs up bathroom selfie.
Do you see anybody with a badge or like a membership out? I wonder what happens with this woman here. Hold on a second.
Walked into Costco in Clarkston, Washington, with a bottled drink in his hand. He met a clerk who was standing at the door, because at Costco, you, of course, have to show your membership to get in. You can't shop there unless you're a member. We don't know exactly what he's saying to the woman or what he was hoping to shop for, but Bryan Kohberger was in the market for something that day.
Oh, yeah, right there. There's a membership there. Okay, so maybe that is true.
He is in the store for less than a minute because he can't shop there. He's not a member. He leaves. At 12:36 p.m., you can see Kohberger's white Elantra pull out of the Costco lot. 10 minutes later, at 12:46 p.m., Kohberger's white Elantra pulls into the Albertsons grocery store, and it parks. 3 minutes later, at 12:49 p.m., if you look toward the top of your screen, you can see that Kohberger is walking through the parking lot and toward the store from his car, which appears to be in the middle of the lot. He walks down the sidewalk for a short time and then into the store. Kohberger enters the store and walks toward the aisles at.
He's kind of, from what I'm not a body language expert, but he kind of looks like a kind of like an aloof type person. Like he just, he's all about himself. He's just a loner, really.
12:49 p.m. He's there looking for something. Kohberger isn't in the store all that long, because at 12:56, he goes to the self-checkout. And remember, by this time, he started paying for everything in cash, according to court documents. He's no longer using a debit or credit card. Why? We don't know. No one has ever said why. Maybe he just didn't want to be tracked. After this, Bryan Kohberger's phone, it goes off the network again. From 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 that night, his phone does not report to a cell tower in a similar way to the way it wasn't reporting to a tower at the time of the murders. We know at that time that his phone was definitely.
He's on this too. Oh my God, he's everywhere. Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm trying to go through this here. All right, so let's hold on a second. Let's fast forward here to after the Gray Hughes thing, right there.
I mean, it's my opinion. So, Gray, you've gotten your hands on some other video, and it's the video we've all read about in the probable cause statement about where his vehicle was spotted, how they identified it as suspect vehicle 1. We now know that's the white Hyundai Elantra. So, tell me and show us what you got.
All right. Well, here we go. So this video right here is on Indian Hills Drive. And this is when it first shows up on, in the probable cause document, for example. It's the first time it shows up. And it drives by, and then it passes 2 more houses right after that. And it's pretty amazing that they can see the vehicle in those other shots, and you'll see here in a second. This one's really simple, though. So it drives by. This is one that they use in the probable cause document at like, I think 3:26. Drives by. And then right after this, they don't have it edited up where it's like the next second later, the next shot. So, I mean, I can scrub it forward and get to the next one. I think it's coming up right here. So way up here in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see some lights moving around, and that's where that is.
Wow.
So I don't know if you can see up there. See how there's just a little bit of light movement up there?
Mm-hmm.
It was just slightly hitting the van just for a second. And there it is right there, the top of the van. They know that's the car because of the timing. And that house is right next door, 2 houses over from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after this, it switches over to another camera. Yeah, this one's pretty interesting because
Yeah, I can't do it. Anyways, we saw him walking through the Costco, so that's good enough for me. I can't stand him either. His voice he just bothers me. Okay, so let's do this here. Hold on a second here. I should have pre-screened that before I showed it. Too funny. All right, so I'll move on to something else here. We're going to go on to this story here. This was done 5 days ago. Angelina Resendez, 21, was a U.S. Navy sailor who was found unalive near a naval station in Norfolk, Virginia in June. Resident's mother joins Banfield to discuss what she learned, hold on a second. Joins Banfield to discuss what she learned during the pretrial hearing and how she believes that there were several groups aware of the alleged killer's history of SMC. You guys know about this case, right?
Hard to pry details of a murder investigation out of a police detective's, and trust me, it is. Try getting anything out of a military police detective. We've been trying since June to get details on the Navy's investigation into the murder of Angelina Resendez, an active duty sailor on a warship docked in port in Norfolk, Virginia. Angelina's body was found June 9th, but prosecutors now say she was killed on or about May 29th. That's a week and a half earlier. Authorities say she was killed by a fellow sailor with a history of alleged sex assaults. Everything I just said after June 9th was revealed for the very first time just last week in a closed-door pretrial hearing, but my next guest was in there. She, too, has fought an uphill battle for crumbs of information and is now fighting for justice. Esmeralda Castle is Angie Resendez's mom. Esmeralda, thank you so much for coming back on the show. And I'm so sad that it has been so hard for you to get information about what happened to Angie. But it's pretty amazing how much you just learned in the hearing last week. Can you tell me what you found out?
There's a lot of details to what happened, but basically there were several groups who knew about Jeremiah Copeland before he made it to Angie, and that besides all the details of how it was done, just knowing that they knew, everyone in charge knew. The only people who didn't know were the service members.
So let me talk about a little bit about the information that came out, which is just sort of it's jaw dropping to think that this guy was still in the Navy. So his name is Jeremiah Copeland. He's a seaman. He's a culinary specialist, like Angie was as well. They worked together. He was charged with crimes against 4 other women, military and civilian, since the year 2023. Aggravated and abusive sexual contact, aggravated assault through strangulation, 2 separate sexual assaults, and 2 counts of domestic violence. Has anybody explained to you, Esmeralda, why he wasn't already locked up and why he was still in the Navy and able to access your daughter?
Of course not. According to the Navy, they did everything by the law, and they followed the procedures accordingly. And so no one's going to explain that to me. We just see it for ourselves, what it is. This is a pattern.
And
this practice.
And of course, I assume they're saying that they're still, these are still charges and that they're...
Yes, I have the Travis Decker thing loaded. So that'll be coming up in a few seconds here. I don't know why they promote that guy. They should do some like analytics on that to find out how many people actually can't stand him.
Maybe not convictions yet, and maybe that's why, but still, I don't know if you're able to, but I think you found out some details as well about how your daughter was treated after she was murdered. Like there were several days when she was hidden.
This poor woman, man.
That's those things are hard. Those things are hard to say and to think about and to try to understand why this is happening or why that happened or how that was allowed to happen. And everyone in between who could have done something, who could have helped her, they chose not to. It was a choice because they knew she was being looked for.
This is the last thing you ever want to go through, bruh. Right here.
And they knew it was out of character. And if they did see her and did nothing.
The details that came out in this hearing, that Angie was murdered in his barracks and that he allegedly kept her.
Like, I wouldn't even go on his channel, let alone listen to him being, like publicized on a national, like it's not a good call by some of these networks, in my opinion.
Her remains in a briefcase or duffel bag stowed away in his closet for 4 or more days, but ultimately Angie was found in a black wheeled duffel bag. Esmeralda, we'll continue to follow this case, and hopefully you'll be getting more information as each of these hearings is scheduled.
I just feel so bad for this woman right here. It's just so awful.
I hope you'll come back and help us to find justice for your daughter, for Angie. I'm so sorry that you and your kids are having to go through this.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
So, let's go to the I think this is the press conference. So let me share this here. It's awful. It's very sad. Terribly sad. Okay, so here's Dee Dee's boyfriend. Well, this is not her boyfriend, but he's in here, I'm sure. So this is the Travis Decker thing. So they found some human remains, I think it was last week. And they got a rush on this here to figure out whether or not this was Travis Decker. And come to find out, it is. So the good news is he's not with us anymore. The bad news is, I guess there is no bad news. Well, there is some bad news. That'll take care of this sheriff. So unfortunately, Dee Dee's probably not going to be seeing much of this guy anymore.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good, 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 good.
Good night and good luck.
All right, here
We
we
missed it. Mic check.
go.
Edie, is that you?
I used to actually do these events for the political events down here in Manchester and Concord. I used to be one of the setup guys here when I was in college. In my internship, I'd have to go down here and do all of these press conferences, the setup, the mics, set up, the lighting setup, all of that stuff. So it's not fun. It's a lot harder than it looks. So I get it.
Hey, if you guys are listening, they're walking over right now.
I don't think anyone's probably going to stop me from starting early, so that works for everybody. So come on up there. Just make sure everyone's ready.
I'm pretty sure JPH is here in spirit. I'll have to say this is a good looking guy here. Just I'm glad they got him. That's all I care about. I'll tell you one thing. I'm pretty sure his ex-wife, is probably relieved that he's been found, and he's been found not alive, because I'm pretty sure she was fearing for her life too.
We're good? Good. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming here. We're coming full circle. We look at about 4 months ago, we were just sitting here breaking the news about this tragic situation of the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And today I stand before you again with news that we have received our DNA results back.
See, that's a sad thing, right? Like, if it was me, I would have all 4 of those girls' faces up here. And they probably are somewhere. They're just not in the camera view. But they never, ever concentrate on the victims. They always concentrate on the pieces of shit that do this stuff. But I would have these 4 girls' faces up here.
From the Washington State Patrol's crime lab, from the
3 girls.
The items that were recovered last week, that would be the clothing and also the human remains. We are glad to say that those remains do come back as a positive match for Travis Decker. It's a big day for Chelan County Sheriff's Office, all of our federal partners, that we can finally bring a close to this dark chapter of Chelan County. Certainly pay respects to the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. We wanted to show honor to them, let them know that we never forgot about them. We haven't forgot about their family. To Whitney, we apologize that it's taken this long to get the closeness.
But why are they not on camera? Like, they should be on camera.
And the closure that we are looking for in this case, but I hope that you can rest easier at night knowing that Travis is accounted for. He is deceased. Our DNA results confirm that, and this will bring a close to our case. I want to thank our detectives, our investigative unit, for the amount of time, effort, and just overall sacrifice that they put in. They never relented on this case. They remained focused, and they made sure that, number one, justice was served, and most importantly, the law prevailed in this situation. We appreciate all of our federal partners, the FBI, the U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Marshal Service, who will come up and talk after me, and then we'll take questions after that. We also had our partners at the Criminal Investigation Division, Border Patrol with their BORAT team, and also their BOR-STAR team. We couldn't have done this by ourselves. We're a medium-sized agency, as I've said throughout this process. We appreciate our federal partners standing up alongside of us, assisting us. We appreciate the Washington State Patrol. Specifically, I'd like to give thanks to operational psychologist Stacy Gutchett and her work and her forensics analysis of Mr. Decker that assisted us in our 4th search, pointed us in the direction of Grindstone Mountain, an area of
They were lucky. They got, this guy was saying at the last press conference when they found these remains that they're swamped over there as far as, you know, in the lab as far as cases and stuff like that. So they were able to get this kind of pushed ahead. And I think it's because they really wanted to find this guy because of the ex-wife. I think she and they were kind of fearing that if he wasn't dead, that he might come after her for some reason. But so they got that kind of expedited.
Of interest that we wanted to search, and her insight and guidance led us to an important area to search where we did eventually locate Mr. Decker. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. I want to thank the King County Sheriff's Office, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office for also coming alongside of us, allocating their air assets to us.
Did they say a cause of death yet? I don't think so.
We could not have done it by ourselves if we had not had the rappelling capabilities that we had from the helicopters. Again, we would have struggled. They would have taken months longer, and we're thankful for that. But most importantly, to our community, thank you. Thank you for supporting us, being patient.
And I do know towards the end of the search, especially in the last couple of weeks leading up to that, they had they had every freaking imaginable resource out there looking for this guy. They had 4 helicopters because I was following on the scanner and I was following on the flight radar. They had drones out there. They had heat-seeking drones. They had everything out there in the last couple of weeks. So, and he was like less than a mile from where he unalived his daughters. So he wasn't far.
We wanted this wrapped up within the first couple of days. We knew it took months. We knew that you sat on edge as we were also stressed out about this situation. But again, you never wavered your support from us. We're grateful for that. We haven't forgot it. And we hope that you can also rest easy at night knowing that Mr. Decker is accounted for. Unfortunately, he's deceased. To his family, my condolences to you. I understand this could be your brother, your son, your family member. We never wanted any harm to come to him, but unfortunately the circumstances are what they are. He succumbed to whatever injuries those were. We're going to hear back from our coroner's office, the medical examiner, if they're able to get a cause of death or a time of death. But we appreciate them also working with us, working closely with us.
Wow, he must have been pretty decomposed if they couldn't tell right away or within a few days. He must have been, possible he was scavenged too.
And also being respectful of those remains as we found them. We will hand them back over to his family when the time's appropriate. But we just thank everyone that has come alongside the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, the media, who's also been here assisting us as we've kept Mr. Decker's face out there in public. I know at times a lot of the citizens, not only here in Washington State.
You guys are all awesome. I want to thank everybody. You guys are all great coming here, listening to me for a few hours here every Saturday, early Sunday morning, night. You guys are great. Very, very great. I appreciate all your support.
But nationally, we're wondering when are we going to get closure to this case? Again, we needed the media to do this. We needed them to keep their face out there so we could have Travis, if he was out beyond our borders, at least under some pressure. But again, fate had what it was. We were able to locate him. And again, we appreciate it. I'm going to let...
Whose first name?
U.S. Marshal Service also present. They've been alongside us from day one. We appreciate that partnership, the resources, the finances they put into this. We couldn't have done it without them. Same with the FBI, but the Marshal Service really took on a heavy burden for us, overseeing the search efforts, while our detective investigative units went and focused primarily on the investigation, knowing that we were getting ready for a criminal trial. This was a triple homicide. We never lost sight of that. This was also a kidnapping. We never lost sight of that. Before I conclude, though, I also want to make sure that I pay...
Jocelyn's too funny. McSteamy. Control yourselves, for God's sakes. Just kidding. If I was the only contestant, yeah.
Thanks specifically to the Wenatchee Police Department, Detective Hewitt. If it had not been for his tireless effort, the days coming up to Monday when we jumped into this investigation we would have had 2,900 square miles that we've had to search without any real guidance. His efforts, the Wenatchee Police Department's, their investigative unit, certainly gave us a leg up to be able to track them down, get to the site quickly. We thank Deputy Mike McLeod for his quick work in finding that campsite. But again,
yeah, I'm pretty sure every person that's of a female gender in front of this guy here is doing the same thing.
Not only nationally with our federal partners, state partners, but regionally, we had
or some males too, right?
Help with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee Police Department, Wenatchee Police Department. But specifically, I want to make sure Detective Hewitt was recognized for his efforts, his work. He certainly gave us everything we needed to jump into this investigation and get there quickly. And they continue to stay beside us, talking with Whitney and the family, making sure that they were talking with them as we were focusing on the investigation.
I think he looks a little like Anderson Cooper myself.
So I just want to make sure I said thank you to them as well. I'll let the marshal's office speak, and then after that, we'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
These guys right here, the U.S. Marshals, and they're the real heroes in this whole thing. All these things. If ever you're looking for somebody, just ask the Marshals. They'll find them. There's no doubt. Your local police, state police, they're not going to find anybody. It's the U.S. Marshals. If they can't find them, nobody's going to.
Jerome Brown with the Marshal Service. I'm based out of Spokane, Washington. I'm the supervisor for the task force. The first time I spoke before this podium, I promised you that we would not stop until we found the fugitive. My job and my team's job is to find the fugitives using the Rapid Advancing Manhunt Program, which we did, along with the help from the partners that was mentioned from the sheriff already. There's numerous to mention. I'm not going to go over the list again, but without the community, which is what this truly is about, law enforcement community, family community members that are out here present. Without all of you, we could not have done this. This is a team, truly team, family endeavor. That's why this was successful. So remember that when you go home, that we were supported with food, roofs, things when we needed them to accomplish our mission as a law enforcement community. You helped us and supported us in that endeavor. That's why we are successful. So again, thank you to everybody, and I'll go into questions unless Sheriff has something else.
No, we'll open up the questions.
Are you able to talk a little bit at all? I know it's very early about how he died or when he died.
We're going to leave that up to the coroner's office. Coroner Harris has already confirmed that they're doing the best they can with their medical partners to determine if they can determine a cause of death and also how long he had been deceased when he was out there. Again, we understand that process takes time. We did not get full remains. We have gotten majority of the remains back. But again, that's a process, and we're hoping that they are able to.
See right there, there's a clue right there. We didn't get all of the remains. So that's telling me that he was probably scavenged, right? He's been out there for a while. Just my opinion, I think right after he unalived his daughters, he probably ended up unaliving himself, but I can't, but with him just saying that they didn't recover all the remains is telling me that he was scavenged too. So
to determine that, because we know that's
good.
Some of the community wanted to know. As of now, we don't have those answers.
Sure. Were there any clues to try to figure out whether he had been on the run all this time or if he went straight to Rhinestone Mountain?
Yeah, me too. I think he just he probably used the GUN on himself.
Based off the information we have, it appears that the potential of him going directly up Grindstone Mountain shortly after the event or within that day would be pretty consistent. But again, we'll look at the time frame once we hear back from the coroner's office, and hopefully we can get a clearer picture on what was the cause of death. Again, if it was anything outside of what would be.
I mean, I do kind of feel bad for his family too. I know he was suffering. I mean, it's the claim anyways that he was suffering from some post-traumatic stress disorder from being in the military too. So he definitely wasn't right in the head, but I don't, I do feel bad for his family a little too.
An explainable cause of death, and it wasn't at Mr. Decker's own decision by his own hand. We would investigate that as a separate homicide. Again, we will pay respects to him. We'll honor his family as well, but we'll wait to hear what the coroner's office and the medical examiner has to say.
See, if ever you have a question, just ask Tracy, right? Tracy's going to know. Instead of ask Siri, you should just ask Tracy.
Able to circle in on this one specific tiny area that I think.
So this was our fourth search. It was a planned search. We appreciate the U.S. Marshals overseeing that, taking it on. The FBI had done our third one. After that, this was the area that we had been speaking with the Washington State Patrol and their operational psychologist, who I mentioned before. That would be Stacy Chuckett. Really appreciate her insight. So we did get forensic
Trivia Tracy. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's fantastic. We love Tracy. Tracy's awesome.
analysis when it came back from the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI with their forensic psychologists, and of course the Washington State Patrol. And she had highlighted an area of interest that was on Grindstone Mountain. She even guesstimated about what elevation we were looking at, and we really appreciate her insight. She brought certainly a different perspective than we had received from the FBI or the Marshal Service. But again, we were taking information as we could throughout this investigation. It was rapidly evolving. I think we utilized our resources best as possible. And the last iteration, Washington State Patrol coming in with this contracted operational psychologist, certainly gave us a different area to look at, but it was always something that we were going to check next as our search area continued to expand out.
Sheriff, what was kind of the clues that led to that area being, as you mentioned, an area of interest?
It was outside of the three search areas that we had already checked. It was certainly within sight of our original crime scene. And we knew also with the information that had been obtained with the psychologist there from Washington State Patrol, that they viewed that would be an area that they might have singled out, or Mr. Decker might have viewed out.
Yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible in cases like this. That's why they're being very tight-lipped about stuff. Yes, we love you too, Tracy. Tracy, you're amazing. But is there any possibility a third unknown suspect was involved? Maybe. Yeah, it's possible he, ran into foul play out there in the woods. The fact that he was scavenged, though, I mean, he didn't come out right out and say that he was scavenged, but the fact that they only recovered a few, not all of the remains, is telling me that he was probably scavenged.
As an area that he would have headed.
Sheriff, I saw that there was a tip line. How many people submitted to that tip line? And did rumors or any other leads kind of prolong like the lead, or was that difficult in that?
Yeah. So certainly we were running.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that he did pew himself, and then his remains were scavenged. So that would mean probably that the pew itself is probably in a different location, and his remains just got scavenged at that point. That's probably why there's no weapon there. But I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible.
Our tip line, we really appreciate the FBI coming in and overseeing that over the first couple of days of the operation. You're going with thousands of tips coming in, and then of course it slowly dwindled down. But you're hearing leads that everyone was telling us, you've missed it. He's already in Canada. He's in Mexico. Clearly, we have the Marshal Service. They have relationships as well with international partners. We did have international partners in Mexico and Canada following up on leads, along with nationally here. We had viewings in Montana, Idaho, Texas. So again, we appreciate our national resources.
That's the thing with these cases. You always have nut jobs that call in and say, I saw him in the Philippines, and it's just 5 minutes of fame.
That we had. Also, we had local resources in different states that were willing to step up, assist us, track down leads. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves, but certainly we weren't overlooking any tip that came in, any bit of advice that we had. But it certainly strained our resources that we did have, but we primarily kept our focus here with our investigators, and eventually we got the results we were looking for.
Can you tell us just how?
I mean, that area out there I've been flying over that area for the last 4 months. It is, sparse to say the least. I mean, so.
Yeah, so I have been in touch with Whitney. We've certainly tried to respect her privacy throughout this process. We know that she's grieving, the family's grieving. We've told her that we will share information that she feels appropriate. We had a general idea. I'd like to thank Captain Chance with Wenatchee Police Department. He really was the point of contact primarily with the family. But when we did have press releases that came out that I felt would be more shocking to the conscience, we did try to communicate that with her so she wasn't taken back by it. But we understand no matter what, this is not going to bring Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia back. If anything, we just hope that maybe she would sleep better at night. She wouldn't be looking over her shoulder. But we understand nothing we can do is going to reverse this tragedy.
I think she was she was scared to death because I think she had a feeling that, you know, maybe, I mean, how do you sleep through that? You just lost your three daughters, and now, you know, this lunatic is out there. So who knows?
Our travesty and bring her daughters back, which we feel for that, but we certainly have done everything we can to be supportive of her and respect her privacy and keep her informed when she needed to be.
Can you talk a little bit? Can you tell us just how it feels for you personally and for your department to find at the same time?
My focus is more back on my agency. I understand that a lot of our deputies have taken a huge toll when they're sitting there on the crime scene for hours on end. Our detectives are having to read through these reports to find details of the case that no officer in his law enforcement career should really have to read through. So I certainly am focusing on them, making sure that they have the support they need with psychologists, critical incident stress management, peer supporters. We've done everything we can to make sure we're supporting them on that front. I would say personally that I certainly view it as a win for our community that we can.
This is why, you know, I tell people I couldn't have been a cop, because and I always go back to the Chad Duerman case too, over there in Ohio. To be the first responding officers on the scene when there's, you know, innocent freaking children, just, you know, it would just, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Close this. This has been a very dark chapter. You're looking at one of the largest manhunts in Chelan County history, one of the most horrific crimes that we've seen in Chelan County, and we had to put it behind us. Personally, I certainly just feel for the family. I couldn't imagine that as a father to lose any of my kids, especially all three. And I hope that we never see anything like this in Chelan County again. But personally, I'm just glad to see it's closing out and we're putting it behind it. And number one, above all, that we found Mr. Decker, he's accounted for, and that we can say that threat to our community is confirmed, no longer a threat. We will go through the final processes of closing out the case. We know that our detectives still have some things to wrap up. We still consider this to be a criminal case. We're making sure that we've documented all of our evidence, that we've completed all of our reports, and that we've done what we need to do to process the evidence we have. We do not believe there are any other suspects, anything else we need to follow up on, but we want to make sure it's closed properly.
Sheriff, do you think you've gotten any closer, and will you ever get close to the reason why Mr. Decker died?
No, I don't think we'll ever have a true reason. I don't think it really matters what his reasoning was. In our view, and based off the evidence we have, he committed murder. It's inexcusable. It's inexplainable. And we would have liked to, of course, heard his thought process and what he was thinking at the time. But I don't think anything he said would have justified it. The bottom line is our community is now down 3 young girls that would have been our bright future. They're not here.
It just freaking sucks. Hold on a second here. Two seconds here. Sorry I have to do this to you guys really quick, but I feel it's like my duty to do this, I guess, because these are the girls right here. These are the poor victims right here. I mean, it just, you know, it just sucks. Just really sucks. Poor kids. And the mom too. You know, the mom's got to live through this. It's just awful. All right, let's go back to the boyfriend here. Hold on a second here.
I know several members of our agencies had their kids interacting with them on sporting events and other personal events. So it's a loss for us personally too. We recognize that those girls are gone for their family. They're not going to be able to enjoy birthdays, other memories, first dances, first sporting events, even first jobs. So I certainly feel for them. I understand that is a huge loss. And I certainly will be sending my prayers towards them, hoping that they can find some kind of closure on this.
Can you speak to the state of the remains? You touched on this a little bit last week, but did the crime lab give any indication about why it may have been particularly difficult to test any of the samples in the state of the remains?
No, I would say the biggest challenge to the results was me personally. I requested more than they're used to. I appreciate Chief Batiste and his team being flexible and willing to adjust. I did not want to take any chance of just coming back with samples from the clothing. I wanted samples from the remains that were also located there. I know this was an unusual request for the State Patrol. I appreciate them humoring me on this, but we also...
I mean, I do think it's interesting in a specific context, right, of why people do this, right? But that's for a different subject conversation, right? I probably wouldn't have asked that at a press conference, but people are going to do it, right? So, but I think it's important to get to the bottom of these things. I don't know.
Also want to make sure we shut down conspiracy theories. Mr. Decker did not bring anyone else up there and leave the remains behind. This is Mr. Decker's remains. The clothing matches, the remains match. That is the end of the conversation. This is why we asked them to take their time, test more samples. And again, I have to follow the lead that our detectives did. They've been thorough, by the book, and have not rushed any process through this. So when we're making this request to the Washington State Patrol, I understand that it took more time, but I certainly have to follow our investigators' leads and say, go the extra mile, don't rush this investigation, and make sure it's closed out properly. I think we did that. Though it's frustrating to our community, I understand that. And to others, the Sheriff's Office did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Is there any specific estimate of how many personnel across all the agencies work
Welcome back, Big Fish.
together throughout this entire process?
I would say hundreds. In the search alone that the FBI coordinated, we were over 100 personnel that were on the ground searching, in addition to the amount of...
They were all over that mountain the last couple of weeks. That's all I know.
Money that each agency has contributed. Had the Chelan County Sheriff's Office and the Chelan County government itself had to absorb the cost of this, it would have bankrupted our county. So thank you to the FBI, thank you to the U.S. Forest Service, thank you to Border Patrol, thank you to the Marshals, thank you to every single municipality and
they're lucky they found them. You know, it's not easy to do.
County agency that came out, contributed funds. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. And I've heard,
you know, another month or so, they would have had to call off the search because it would have been, I don't know. Do they get snow up there? I'm sure they do.
You spent a lot of money. I guarantee if it was your kids, you would ask me to spend the same amount of money. So if I had to do it over again, we'd do it exactly the same way to ensure that justice was served and again, that the law prevailed.
Is this the largest manhunt we've seen in the nation?
I'm not sure on the nation. I certainly have our subject matter expert here, but for Chelan County, this certainly takes the largest manhunt that I think we've ever seen, that we've ever heard of. And we did talk to former members of our agency, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
Sure. Is there a timeline for the coroner's offices when they have some more definitive results as to what caused the manner?
They said it could take months. I'm not the subject matter expert in here, but I know that Coroner Harris was open to have any questions on that front to be redirected back over towards him. Certainly someone I would trust his opinion. He's done an excellent job for not only the industry, but our county for several years. We're going to miss him, but I know we've got a good candidate coming up behind him with Deputy Earl Crow that's going to be taking that position potentially. So we've got good people in there. I know they'll get the results when they get them. Anything else from anybody?
Thank you for your hard work, Sheriff.
Well, it was definitely a group effort. The Sheriff's Office didn't do this by ourselves. I know I get to stand up here and take some credit, but we didn't do this by ourselves. It certainly was a group effort. The Marshal Service was key. Again, they took on the workload that was this manhunt. The FBI was certainly pulling every string they could behind the scenes, getting additional resources. If we hadn't got the additional funding for that third search, I get that we didn't get the results we wanted to, but we certainly did everything and was showing that we weren't willing to give up. We were going to continue to do what we need to do, but we're just appreciative for all of our partners that came alongside us.
This guy, the U.S. Marshal, standing behind him saying, yeah, we got this. We got, like, they're so good at doing that. Like the U.S., I'm serious when I tell you this. If the U.S. Marshals don't find him, nobody's going to. It's the only thing U.S. Marshals aren't good at is underwater stuff. But other than that, if they're out there, they'll find them for sure.
And most importantly, and I want to say this too, like our deputies stepped up every single day while we were out here taking on fires, as we're seeing here. The 365-day, 24/7 coverage that we provided was still being taken care of. You've seen our deputies at work handling other cases.
That's too funny. Back off, Fishy. That's funny. You guys are awesome.
And I appreciate them too. They've done a lot of personal sacrifice, and we continue to be here and support them. Just appreciative of their efforts. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. And thank you for being supportive of us during this time. We're looking forward to closing this case out. And to Whitney, certainly hope you know that we never gave up. And Peyton, Evelyn, Olivia, their memories will live on forever. Thank you.
All right, now go home and look at yourself in the mirror. All right. Okay, so I got a couple more things I want to do before I get out of here. Sorry to take up all this time. I know I've been here a long time now. Oh my God, 3.5 hours. All right, so I do want to share this here because I think this is important. We'll do this and then okay, so this happened. I wanted to share this here too because this is always important. This happened locally here, and I did a BOLO on my community post here. Police in Concord seek person who might have followed this girl home. Concord police, this was here in New Hampshire, said the girl was dropped off by the school bus on September 16th on the East Side Drive and Burns Avenue. I know exactly where that is. And a man followed her to her house. So you just want to be careful. Don't ever take your eyes off your kids. So I'll play this here. Am I sharing this?
This is the intersection where police say that 13-year-old girl got off of her school bus. Eastside Drive here seems to be more of a main road, whereas Burns Avenue tends to be more of a residential road. We want you to just take a look at your screen here. This is the man that police are considering a person of interest. According to police, they say he is approximately 5'3" and has a tan complexion. They say it appears he was walking at the time wearing a blue tank top with camo pants. Police say they do not know who he is at this point. They're asking people in the area to take a look at any security cameras if they have them. Now, police say the man was following the 13-year-old girl to her door after getting off the bus and tried to make contact with her. Police say they do not know how long she was allegedly being followed for here. At this point, police don't know who this man is or if there's any relationship between the two. The school district says they are aware of the investigation and they are cooperating with police. They say the girl did everything right here. She knew something didn't feel right and she spoke up about it.
It is one of those things. Have a conversation with your child. If there is something that doesn't feel right, get to a safe place and don't hesitate to reach out to the police or a parent or the trusted adult to let them know what's going on. And really, ultimately, that conversation, I think, is imperative that families have with their child.
Now, despite not knowing who this man is, police say they do not believe there's any threats to the public relating to this incident at this time. Again, they are asking anyone with any information to give them a call. We're live in Concord. Kelly O'Brien, WMUR News 9.
Okay, the other thing I want to do, I got one more thing to do, and then I'll get out of here. There's a new interview with Julie Murray. That's Amara Murray's sister, and the Invisible Tears podcast did a part 1 and part 2 on that. The Invisible Tears podcast is hosted by one of the surviving victim of the Connecticut River Valley unaliving, Shane Borowski. They did a great job on that. So if you want to check out that, go to Invisible Tears podcast because trying to support her. She's a great person. She's one of my heroes. But they did a great interview with Julie, a 2-part interview with Julie Murray. All right, so let's do this here, and then I'll get out of here. 1 second here while I hold on a second here. Okay, so this was done a few days ago here. This was done 5 days ago. This is out in Arizona here. Missing sisters found alive decades after their mother's unaliving in the Mojave County. This is the story about I think we did a live on Marina Ramos, but they found these girls, so that's the good news. So here we go.
Mystery. Once again, a daunting responsibility.
It's a case that stuck with Mojave County Sheriff's Office investigator Lori Miller.
The dirt knows. If it could just tell me.
Trying to figure out who killed 28-year-old Marina Ramos here in 1989. What happened to her two little girls, Elizabeth and Jasmine, who have been missing ever since.
She had her two little girls with her.
It was a cold case until Miller was recently able to identify Marina Ramos, learning about her daughters who were never seen again.
I always said that. In my heart, I think they're still alive.
Miller has never wavered, even traveling out of state to search for the girls.
And then that one day, there it is. And you realize that all you've done for years is finally come to a successful conclusion.
That day coming in August after Marina's family provided DNA to help with the search for the girls, now 37 and 36 years old.
I think my heart fell down into my feet.
Miller learning about a match on a genetic genealogy website, tracing the sample to its source.
I grew up with the name Tina, and just recently I found out my real name is Jasmine Ramos.
It's a call
These stories are so weird, right?
neither Tina or her older sister Melissa will ever forget.
I don't know. I just ran out of the room and didn't even know how to process what was being said.
The two sitting down with me weeks after learning the news.
I'm still trying to process it.
Even seeing the stories we shared.
New images are being released in a decades-old murder case full of twists and turns.
To see those age progression photos, that must have been weird to see.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'm like, that was pretty spot on.
I didn't know what I was looking at first, and my husband was like, that's supposed to be you.
Decades-old newspaper clippings help tell the sister's story.
They had been found in the park on December 14th of 1989 in Oxnard, and we found Marina December 12th in Mojave County.
Just babies discovered in the bathroom of a Southern California park and later adopted.
To learn that your mom was a victim and that she didn't leave you in that California park, that it was someone else.
I was sad to know that my mom is gone and I will never be able to see her. Sorry, it still hits me a little bit.
As teenagers, the sisters were told about their adoption, now learning much more.
I was happy to know that all those abandonment issues that I dealt with when I was a kid was automatically released for me.
Both have their own complex emotions and still so many questions.
You don't know that in some people's lives you're missing. In your own, you're right here.
You're reading this story of these two little girls who got abandoned, and you're like, I don't really know, how are you supposed to feel about that? It's like, I was a baby, so I don't remember. I want everyone to know that I'm okay. I'm here. I've lived a beautiful life. I have a wonderful husband.
Tina now lives in Oregon. Melissa recently moving here to Arizona. Both have children of their own.
Do you have a hope for the future?
Have a good night, Paula. I'm going to be getting out of here soon, too. Have a great week, Paula. I'll see you around anyways.
With all of this,
I would like to meet the family in person. As much of them, like I said, as that they would like to meet me. From there, it would just be how we feel together.
The sisters sharing the similarities they already see.
It's like, how is my sister like my mom when we don't know her?
Nervous, emotional, scared. Now adults piecing their own stories together.
This is what I've been searching for and wanting for a very, very long time. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to learn who I am, learn who Jasmine Ramos is.
We're doing good, and may the search continue for the next missing person, and hopefully they find some more success stories.
Miller isn't done working this case. She spent time doing further testing and going through police reports. She believes 3 people, a woman and 2 men, seen with the girls in that park back in 1980.
Have a good night, Jocelyn. Have a great week. Thank you so much for coming in. Jocelyn's amazing. I believe her YouTube channel is Butterfly Kisses. Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
89 could be suspects in Marina's death. We will continue to follow this case in the coming days.
So that's the end of that. just wanted to share that story because it's a pretty decent story there. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. You guys have been awesome. Appreciate everybody. All right, so we already said goodbye to Jocelyn. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Mustang. Mustang's awesome. Great channel 2 there, Mustang 1965. Shibby, you're awesome. Thanks so much for coming in. Shibby is always a great supporter here. Appreciate it a lot. Big Fish, thank you so much. Tracy. Tracy's just amazing. Great person. Paula, too. Thank you, Paula. Miranda, I hope you feel better. Sorry you're not feeling good. Miranda's amazing. We got Dirty Diana. Thank you, Dirty Diana. I can't wait to see you live again at some point here. Sorry you're going to miss your boyfriend there, but I don't think we're going to see much of him anymore. Let's see here. I know that Doodlebug was in here. I know Southern Gal's amazing. Southern Gal has just an amazing channel. She's an amazing YouTuber. Does great work. She's just awesome. I hope you're feeling good, Southern Gal. Gretchen was in here. Gretchen, thank you so much for coming in. Carol was in here. I know Carol was in here. I wonder if Mino Dino's okay. I haven't seen Mino Dino for a while. I know Charles was in here. Charles is awesome too. Thanks, Charles, for helping out with some of the stuff here. I do want to. I'm gonna try to start scheduling some of this long haul trucker shit soon. Let's see here. I know that Karen Lee was in here. It's always good to see Karen Lee in here. I hope she's doing well too. Heather was in here. I hope Heather feels better soon. Let's see here. Trying to scroll up here. If I miss anybody, I apologize. JCN was in here. Miss JCN's got a great channel too. Let's see here. Boston Christian was in here. Jenny 8675309 was in here. Always good to see both of you guys in here. Let's see here. Dieter was in here. Thank you, Dieter, for coming in. Hope you're feeling good. The stuff in my chat is amazing. Is he dead? No, he's not dead. Who's dead? That's so funny. All right. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. I can't always scroll all the way up. I haven't seen Charlotte for a while. I hope she's okay. John Paul Hansen was in here. John Paul Hansen's awesome. And all those people who watch in the replay, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Just awesome. I get a lot of support from the people who watch at a normal freaking time, right? Just like the owl comes out at night. I don't even want to. Lisa Joe, that's right. Thank you so much. Because Lisa Joe's amazing. She's very smart too. Lisa Joe's brilliant. He's working lots. Dino says hi, and he'll make it up to everyone soon. Oh, don't worry about it. I just hope he's all right. I haven't seen Charlotte around. I hope she's okay. She's probably chasing after the chickens over there and walking the dog on the beach. So, anyways, enough for me. I'm out of here. I may come on here later today and do a little update on the tropics, but I don't think there's anything to worry about for the next couple of days. If you live along the South Carolina, North Carolina coast, it might get a little windy, a little breezy, but I think everybody's going to be okay. All right, so let me play my outro. In Mustang, did I say Mustang too? Yes. Okay. I'll see you guys around anyways. I'm pretty sure I'll be in some of these chats here, but go check out some of these great channels. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great week. Whatever you do, don't die. And we'll see you next week. Take care.